Ba-blam, ba-blam.
Ba-blam, ba-blam, ba-blam. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Wisdom Saves. The Chocolatiers have returned once again to do the things that they do. Are you guys? What are you guys doing? Are you adventurers? Do you fight crime? Is this an adventuring group?
We do something.
Yeah.
We do the crime.
Remains just like under like occupation. It's just remains to be seen.
We are independent
Yeah.
contractors.
Occupation.
What is your occupation? Yes.
Yes.
Employed currently. Yeah, so hi everybody, I'm Dom. Joining us, we have got our wonderful Bryn, Eminence, Oriana, Aery, Eridan, and Natalie. We'll go ahead and do some character introductions and we'll follow through on the screen so everybody can get a chance to talk about themselves before we hop into today's game. Bryn, you're up first.
Welcome to today. My name is Alishiera. I play Brynjael the Radiant, who's our half-dragon paladin. Yeah, she's just a good girl and would like to be fighting crime, maybe, but is just here. She's here for a good time, not a long time necessarily.
Winky face Eminence.
Hi, I'm Nicole. I play Eminence. She is a tiefling warlock, purple Regina George / Draco Malfoy / insert mean teenage stereotype here, who is getting way too old for that shit.
And her sister Oriana.
Hi, I'm Maleficent. I play Oriana, another tiefling, but she's just a little bit more sinister than Draco Malfoy and Regina George. I think she's a good girl, but she's not. But she's fun.
That is always good. Aery.
Hello, yes, I play Aery. He's a high elf disaster sorcerer boy who definitely is not here for, well, he's an elf, so he probably is here for a long time. But
And a good time.
definitely he's here for a super good time, so.
Of course. And Eridan.
Hey, my name's Sajasala. I play Eridan. He's a half-elf bard, elvish bard. I keep doing that in way over his head. Yeah, that'll do.
Fair.
Love it. And Natalie.
Natalie. Natalie is
Natalie.
I don't know. I had a thing and then it just immediately jumped out of my mind. Hi, I'm BurrowsRed who plays Natalie. Natalie's a time. She's a barbarian, half-orc barbarian.
Hey.
She's just here. She exists.
I'm glad we've got a hell of a mood going into this podcast. This live let's play of D&D. Where last we left our heroes, they were up to the middle of some political shenanigans. They were trying to figure out some information about the king of Valater. Their organization had sent them on a quest down to the city of Valater and specifically south to the Forest of Statues, whereupon where an individual is buried in the ground, a perfect lifelike replica statue comes out of the ground to sort of memorialize that individual. The biggest concern is that the most recent addition to those statues happens to be an almost, as far as the parties know, very perfect duplicate of the current king of Valater, who is allegedly still leading the city, though the party have yet to actually see him in person. So, trying to get to the bottom of this, the party went to his castle to try and see if they could meet him in person. They were unable to. They met with an individual named Silence, who informed them that the king is currently ill and is unable to see any petitioners. They also met a couple of other folks. I believe it was Naladri and it was Elromior. And after a brief lunch, they decided to invite the three of them for some dinner at the Golden Tankard where they are currently staying, along with a moderate amount of alcohol. And the party succeeded in getting Silence and El Romeor, drunk enough to yak with some of the special liqueurs that they have been able to discover. And after a wonderful dinner party, sent them off for the evening. And I believe that is where we left off.
Yeah.
Yes. So before we get started, is there anything you guys want to do before the evening is finished? Or shall we just go to bed and move on with the next day?
I think we had decided to go through all the paperwork El Romeo had left for us in the morning. So I don't know if anyone else had anything else to do, but I think we were just kind of
I think
go
fast
to
forward.
bed. Yeah.
Yeah, Eminence is both hungover and bitterly disappointed. She is going to bed.
Natalie will offer to move the beds, even though everyone is probably not helping because we moved them out. But that's more of like a character thing than an actual act thing.
Natalie carries the bed in single-handedly with Eminence on it, already asleep.
And I imagine Eminence has like the blankets all curled up on her, so you just see like this much of her face underneath the covers, just sticking
like
out.
One little horn peeking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and have you guys return to your rooms and take a long rest for the evening. I don't know if you've used any spells or anything like that. I think we did get a couple of spells yesterday with the floating teddy bear of doom.
Yes.
Yeah. I used a couple of rages.
I think I exhausted my entire spell slot on that.
It was worth it though.
But it was great. The night passes without incident. The six of you wake up relatively early into the morning. You can feel that it's a little bit cooler today. Some cooler air is coming in through the shaded windows, and you can hear some already conversation coming from downstairs in the Golden Tankard. There seems to be a little bit of hubbub to kick things off, but the day starts without too much incident. What would the six of you like to do?
Maps? Probably? Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at maps.
Look at map. So I guess, because Aromia was leaving maps, and then any information that he had gathered in terms of like magical kind of like known magical kind of phenomena in the forest. I think like any known like, oh my god, I saw this kind of thing happen, or because we talked to him about like thinning of like the Fey worlds, like between planes there and that kind of thing. So he was just giving us anything that he knew, like he was confident factually, I think was what he said that he'd give us, and then just maps, like rough maps of how to get to the middle of the forest or what his known parts of the forest, I think he said.
Excellent. So I imagine the six of you meet up together in a room and start going through some of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll jump in on that.
Yeah.
Just chilling, seeing where the center of the forest even is, like in terms of conceptually,
Yeah.
how far away is it, that kind of stuff.
Sure. So taking a look at the maps that El Romeor has provided, you can see that the Deepwood looks almost like a bit of a galactic swirl. There is, looking at larger maps that have been made over multiple trips around the perimeter, there is a central core to the wood where the terrain of the natural elevation kind of almost sinks down into a basin, which seems to be the center of the wood. And this basin is probably about 50 or so miles south of Valater. And the rest of the wood seems to almost spiral out following different elevation lines. There are still some hills in this area as well that allow for different natural elevation changes, and in turn provide and create different bodies of water. There are some smaller rivers that seem to pass through small lakes and ponds that are marked in different locations. However, the markings seem to be a little bit sporadic in the naming. One of them is like Mark's Pond, and then on the next map that you look over, it's Jeff's Pond, and it's like half a mile to the right. So there is not a huge amount of consistency super deep into the wood. There are some paths that head towards the center of the wood. However, you gather that most of the paths seem to follow the elevation to remain higher up on top of the hills. So any direct paths would have you descending down into almost like natural ravines and then following those in towards the center rather than an individually worked path itself. Yeah, I think going over different stories, many of the stories that El Romeo provides are, by his account, unsubstantiated. There are rumors of unicorns and fey beasts luring people further into its depths, and beautiful men and women sharing fantastic feasts with different travelers. And then when the travelers wake up in the morning, they find themselves hanging from the bottom of the tree by their feet with all of their clothing gone. Again, the proof for most of these stories, according to El Romeo, is largely lacking, but it runs the gambit of again, beautiful men and women to basically El Chupacabra. Don't go by this hill on a blue moon. Don't go by this tree without turning around 3 times, stuff like that.
What does all of this mean for us?
Well, I think nothing really fully matches what we encountered, but I guess everything seems to be different, so perhaps different fae are targeting different things, or perhaps we just genuinely encountered one of the things that we're kind of trying to hunt down.
I guess the other alternative is that maybe they don't have insight into what exactly is happening. It's more just like a haphazard bunch of things that have happened, and you don't really get an answer yet. We just have to go look.
It kind of feels more like that.
Maybe they're trying to find a pattern where there isn't one as well.
True.
I mean, fae are very unpredictable at best a lot of the time, so maybe, like you say, there is no pattern for us to find in the first place.
Well, do we just go back then?
I mean, we need to traverse in one way or another. So,
has everyone got some kind of iron weapon? Is the only thing I'd make sure of.
No.
Something made of steel, or
no?
I believe I would have something made of steel. Oh.
I would assume my great axe would be fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
I have my self-cooling tin of Chucky. I don't know if that's made of steel.
Oh, but would you really be willing to part with that?
Oh, never.
I mean, I would assume magic in different forms is probably just as effective as steel against fae. So if you don't have, I think anyone that doesn't have an iron or steel weapon would have combat magic that they can use should we need it.
Sounds good.
Next question. Are we bringing our friend?
Yes.
Aery or Erden, do you have a way of contacting him?
No, I forgot about asking again.
Have you any arrangements that he's going to meet up with us at any point in time in the near future?
Not that I can remember, but I'm sure he'll just show up. You know, he tends to do that.
We do know where he lives. I would suggest, if nothing else, maybe we leave a letter.
I don't think we know where he lives. I think last time we stood in the middle of a town square and just screamed his name and didn't figure it out.
No, I used a whisper spell.
Ah,
So I whispered his name and didn't figure it out.
I don't think we have any idea where he lives. Like, out of character. But potentially in character as well. But slightly grumpier.
I mean, we could ask if the residence is known. Did we try doing that after we've had a meeting with literally the king's advisor? I don't think that it would be peculiar that we would be asking after a high-ranking family.
Also,
residence. We literally had most of the king's council in our chambers for dinner last night.
Right. Do we leave him out of this though? I mean, they're going to be tricky. Do we want it on our ledger that we've...
I mean, Aery seemed really confident in her answer, and that's good enough for me.
The boy just wants to try. He's gonna try on his own. He may as well try with us.
It would be a very good experience for him.
Look, Ascat saw us with him, right? It wouldn't be that weird if we asked Ascat if he had some way of getting a message to him, or even if he knew how we could find him.
That's true.
So we ask him?
Yep. Yeah, let's do that.
Bit weird that he hasn't randomly come up to our table this morning.
Once we've contacted him this time, we'll take down all his contact details and maybe like an emergency contact in case we need him.
A contract.
As collateral.
Or in case he dies and we need to let someone know.
I'm sure they'll figure it out or something. We don't have to be the ones to tell them, right?
We could send them
We could send them back a statue.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, that's brutal.
Just like,
Christ, that was out of character.
They're like, oh, it's like a fun little like, what's it called? Like a treasure hunt, and then at the end, it's like,
it's your dead son.
Oh, man.
Oh, could you imagine if someone's like trying to tell their like family that they're dead, but they go and like send them back their head, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's a message," and we're just like, "We're just trying to tell you."
That's like one step off sending someone the bullet bill for somebody's execution.
I mean, like, we could send him back in pieces. Like, I think it would be really expensive to ship a full statue, so we just, like, this week you get an arm, next week you get, like, some knees.
Like a Build-A-Bear at home with your dead son.
Yeah!
oh, that actually sounds quite nice. Maybe we should like actually keep this in mind in case something happens to him.
Or maybe you should
perhaps
speak with Satine when we go back, and you can really have a business proposition for the future. I mean, they're going to run out of space eventually. What if they start burying people and then moving the statues, breaking them into pieces, and then it's like a mosaic at home?
Yeah.
Where is
into like heirlooms and like the lineage and stuff? It could be like a fun, like personalized, like one of a kind puzzle of like one of their ancestors if they ever run out of room and just like need more space for statues.
Yeah, and then if there's like a discrepancy within the family, like
get together and put together Grandpa.
Yeah,
for Christmas.
Oh, nice.
Where is Ascat? I'll say this to the group, like I'm interrupting everyone to be like, where is he?
You should.
He's not in the room. You guys have had sort of like a private dining room since you accosted one of the more noble houses of Valater. No one has come in. No waiter, no Ascat. The door is closed. Aery, with your passive perception, you actually hear that the hubbub is still going on outside. That something is going on in the Golden Tankard.
Hubbub? There was hubbub?
It sounds like, from what you can hear with your passive perception, the conversation is a little bit more vigorous than it has been any of the other mornings that you're here. And you also can hear people walking with gusto to and from different places. Whereas normally it's like breakfast, people are like, oh, I'm going to walk over to the buffet table and get some fruit. People are walking.
Can I poke my head out of the doors and try and listen to any of the conversation? See what people talk about?
Absolutely. So immediately poking your head outside of this side room, the bar appears to be unmanned. You do not see Ascat. You do not see the waiter who was there previously. You do see a couple of people are kind of sitting and talking under the dining room, and their conversations seem to be rather emphatic. Like, oh, what do you think it is? I don't know. I mean, maybe we did something wrong. Maybe they did something wrong. I don't know. And it seems to be like that sort of speculative type of conversation. Yeah. I think that's what you get just at a glance looking around.
I'd like to join Aery at the door and say, so we should go get some coffee for the group.
Oh, yes. Good idea. Perhaps we should.
I'll just start like edging out the door, and if Aery's following me, I'll kind of walk through, try and find Ascat, I suppose, or anyone that can help us out. But just listening in on all the conversations that we walk past, if anything kind of jumps out.
Yeah. So you hear things like, do we still have to go to work? I don't know. I mean, everybody has to go to work, right? Like, but I mean, it's everywhere. And other conversations are, at least it'll be cooler. Well, yeah, it's going to be cooler, but think of all the mess. They scatter all over the place. But you make your way over to the. There are windows. You look out and you can see. The garden in the back seems to be fine. You can still see some of the foliage kind of hanging down. So the decorative plants and flowers still looking rather nice.
Okay.
Do we find Ascat?
So walking over to the bar, you do not see the bartender, nor do you see Ascat.
This is interesting.
Yeah, what's
man is always
happened since last night that makes everyone act so weird? And where's Ascat? I can't imagine he would leave.
That man is always in our business, to a disturbing extent. And now it seems something has actually happened. Maybe he's found someone else to annoy.
But, I mean, maybe we should just ask someone here, because surely they would have had to be served at some point, right?
Yes, let's do that.
All right, so just, I don't know, like, if there's someone who doesn't look like a dick, and it's in our close vicinity, maybe if there's, like, anyone who has, like, table service or something that, like, looks like...
Yeah. So you see what looks to be a young half-elven couple. They both look to be probably late 20s, maybe early 30s, sitting at a table, and they're just sort of talking like, how's this going to affect the economy? I don't know how it's going to affect. And it's just this really weird, like, emphatic conversation, and they have like a fruit plate in front of them along with some mixed drinks.
Hello, good morning. Sorry, I just can't help but over here, it sounds like something strange is going on. I feel perhaps we are just a little out of the loop.
Have you not seen it yet?
We just woke up. We haven't been outside yet. Is it something else?
You should go look outside.
Okay.
I think that'll probably just explain everything.
I imagine we exchange a very wary look and then head for the door.
What is outside?
Sure. So heading over towards the large door to the Golden Tankard, the door from your memory is designed to look super heavy and ornate, just this very, very nice, intricate wood inlay with the pattern of a tankard sort of printed into it. However, as you swing it out to open the door, it gets about halfway before it gets stuck on something. And kind of poking your head out the side to look, you see that there appears to be like a wooden root curled up onto the front step of the Golden Tankard. And stepping out a little bit further, you see trees. Not small saplings, but large trees. The entire pavilion in front of you is completely coated in shade. You can see dapplings of light coming through here and there as it appears to be walking through a deep forest, and horse-drawn wagons and carts are slowly trying to rock their way over the tangle of roots that now cover the street floor, as leaves every now and again seem to shudder and shake and slowly drift down from the top of the trees. But there, just outside of the door, with his shirt completely off, drenched in sweat with a single battle axe, you see Ascat, and he's currently hacking at this massive tree, and he's not making progress. You can see a large, like, apple-sized chunk done into it, but it is a very large tree.
Good morning, Ascat. I don't think that's going to help you very much. Hey, trees.
Morning.
Like the new scenery very much?
I can't open the door. How are we supposed to have patrons if we can't open the door?
Maybe you should just remove the door. It'll probably be easier than taking down the tree.
You see him, like, look at the hinges and then at the tree. Oh, shite. Yeah. You're a good one.
I don't suppose you know what the fuck is going on.
No idea. No. I woke up this morning, people were being loud and rowdy, so I went out and told them to be quiet just before dawn, and this. And he motions his arms to the streets, and looking out, you can see that people seem to be, like, trying to go about their day, like it's just a regular day, but there is no street anymore. It is just a boulevard of trees the entire way down as far as the eye can see, and as a result, you can't actually see very far. You can probably only see about 100 or so feet either to the left or the right, whereas previously you could see all the way down to the end of the boulevard. Ascat looks back at you. Yeah, this, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but, yeah, I don't fucking know. I mean,
I guess it's pretty, at least, and this is like a wood export city, so now you have so much!
Yeah, that's true. It's, is this, this town wasn't built in a city, in a forest. It was built next to a forest, and now it's in a forest. So
yeah, the forest, like, built itself into the city now, so maybe you just...
Yeah, that's not great.
I don't know, it looks good.
One question. This tree right here, was that here when you woke up? They're coming closer?
Yeah, just right outside the door.
Okay, but it hasn't changed since you awoke. There aren't more of them.
I don't know. I've just been keeping track of these.
Right.
I've been looking at this one.
Okay.
It's today. Yeah.
Yeah, well, good luck. We should probably go tell our friends about this.
Right. Breakfast. Can I get you anything?
You seem busy. You seem busy.
We'll get the door and then
breakfast. Yeah, breakfast would be great.
Yeah. I'll just bring a sampler.
Yeah, just like a bit of whatever. Don't strain yourself or anything.
Okay.
That sounds lovely.
And you can see he props his battle axe against the side of the door, and now he's looking up at the door frame, just like, yeah, okay. And he goes over and, like, grabs a stool and puts it by the door and starts trying to work the piston out of the door.
I guess we head back to our group. I'd like to walk into the room and tell them that, well, the good news is we don't have to travel to the forest today.
Yeah, the bad news is that the forest kind of traveled to us.
So
Well,
What?
I mean, technically, we still need to get to the heart of the forest. So
Yeah, but we don't have the travel time to get there. Like, to the edge. We're just already there. So cut something out. Actually, it would probably make the whole thing a lot worse. But
yes, I would
Yes.
think that potentially this is going to make it a little bit more complicated for us, if anything else, because we don't have a clear-cut path now. Or do we have a clear-cut
Well, our maps are
path?
probably useless, aren't they?
Well, I mean, you say the forest came to us. Can you still see the road?
it's full of trees.
But you can still see, like, it's the path underneath, like, where the trees are growing?
Can we? Yeah, like we can just see they're growing out, or is it like completely covered sort of like by like roots and forest floor?
Yeah, so the path is still there. What was the cobblestone street is still there, but the roots seem to have like burrowed into the cobblestones, basically making it so that you can't really walk in a straight path. You kind of have to step over the roots as you're going.
All right.
If
So
there's...
sorry, you go.
Oh, I was going to say, well, if there's like some kind of indication of where the road is, we can still go to where we were going to go, and then
Yeah,
hope
it's
for
good,
the
so I think
best. I mean,
harder.
the forest moving, it didn't within the deep wood. It wasn't covering the path when the forest moved. So I'm not sure what's different about it moving into the town.
But we had that one tree as
No,
we
we-
moved in, though, right? That was right in the middle.
But then it was gone. Remember when we came back? I thought we said that was like fey bullshit kind of thing.
Maybe it's all fable shit. Maybe these are as well.
This does seem a little like fable shit.
But also, like, why trees come here? Why would they do that?
There was like something that's not in the forest anymore that we may have had something to do with.
What was it?
Oh,
Well, I wonder whether
The-
the forest came to... Yeah.
Secret
Oh, like
tradition.
specifically to us because we killed it? I mean,
It may have been like, it may have just expedited its traversing towards us kind of thing, like towards the town. It might not be coming for us specifically, but without a guardian, maybe it's like, oh shit, we gotta go because there's no thing protecting us now.
Do you
What
think
is
it's like some kind of like, the big one? Like we took down the big one, the protector, so like now they think we're the protector?
oh, I hope not. I don't want to be responsible for a whole forest.
Well, neither do I, but maybe that's the logic.
Well,
Maybe.
do any of these rooms have windows? Dom?
Yeah, so your room looks out into the garden, basically on the side of the golden tankard. Walking over, the garden still looks the same. It looks uninterrupted. But now that you lean over a little bit more and like try to look over into the street, you can see that it's not that the garden is lined with trees, as you may have thought at a glance, but that the boulevard is filled with trees just next to the garden.
Yeah. Okay.
Weren't the trees moving away from the city before?
It almost seems like they were on the defensive, and now they are very much not.
Well, I
It seems to be hurting anyone.
I think it was always moving towards the town. Was it not? It was moving away from the center of the forest because the travel time to get to the forest was shorter than it used to be. When we came in, that was one of the kind of things. I can't remember who told us that, but someone said it only takes half a day now to get to the Garden of Statues versus a whole day or something like that.
Oh, I don't know. Dom, were the trees moving away or towards the city? Like
the general from the general information that you guys were provided, you got the sense that the trees were moving. So you got the sense that the trees were moving, and that sometimes it seems like it was away, and sometimes it seems like it was closer. However, if I remember right, Bryn, what you just said was correct. Was the amount of time that it takes to get to a certain location is shorter.
Yeah. So, like, the forest, it just might be kind of moving around in itself. And it just so happens that the garden is close enough for whatever reason. So maybe it's just, I mean, it's a forest. It could be kind of, again, we were talking about Fae being like really chaotic and unpredictable. I think probably the forest is the same if it's an extension of like the thinning between the Feywilds and here.
How do we find the hut now?
Follow the road and hope for the best.
Well,
I think
let's.
we just have to hope that the center is
let's
still the
In the
center.
middle.
Well, if what the map said though, right? Like that, or showed us, I guess. If it gets deeper, we just keep going deeper. Right?
But what
Yes,
if we go
and-
too far? We just go all the way out the other side and we waste so much time and get lost.
Well, theoretically, we
but-
should go into it. It should be like a bowl, right? Like we want to keep going down.
Yes, if we follow the elevation, then it should at least lead us towards the center.
Oh, I see.
Theoretically.
If I join Eridan over at the window and have a look out into the little courtyard garden area, does it seem conspicuous how the forest has encroached on all of the other spaces but left the garden alone? Like, does that seem odd?
So you do know that there are two large trees. Now that you're actually looking, you can see that there are two large trees in the garden. And looking a little bit more closely, it looks like the soil directly adjacent to those trees has recently been overturned or knocked up somehow, or disturbed. It's not like at a glance, it's like, oh, there are two trees in a garden. But now that you're actually looking for it, it's like, oh no, these are two new trees in a garden. You get the sense that it's maybe a little bit less dense in the garden than elsewhere, but there are still trees in the garden.
Okay. I had a suspicion that it was something to do with like man-made spaces, but if it doesn't seem that way, if there's other new trees in the garden, then I'm not going to voice that suspicion.
I wonder
So,
though if
how
it's
long-
like why it didn't pop up in like when we walk around, if we check see if they popped up in buildings, or whether it's like path of least resistance. It was just like, this is an empty spot.
Yeah, maybe they're just going for like the empty space. I mean, if you're moving, maybe even trees don't want to have a hard time. They just want to like get from A to B.
Be chill, be relaxed.
Yeah,
Trees are pretty chill. in
they're
general.
usually. I mean,
Except for one.
until they become sentient and have like arms and stuff and try to rip people out of trees and like into little pieces and stuff.
Yeah, that
Then they're
wasn't
like
so chill.
a little bit less chill.
Not so chill.
So I'm
Anyway.
gonna try and climb up on the roof and see if I can get an idea as to how widespread this is and how much of the city it's covered.
So just in the middle of the
Eridan's
conversation,
about to climb
people are
out the
talking,
window and
and Eridan
just
just
like,
just out
opens
the
the
window.
door, opens the window, just like,
100% out the window.
Sure. Make an athletics or acrobatics check.
Sure. Oh crap! Where are my dice? Shit. There we go. I'll use them.
While dice are being looked for, does it look like the trees appeared or like walked there? Are there like tree footprints or any evidence of the trees moving into place? Or does it look like they popped up?
22 athletics or acrobatics?
Acrobatics. If it's athletics, it's 20.
Well, I mean, you pick
19.
one of the two.
Oh, acrobatics.
Okay. Yeah, so taking a look, it doesn't look like the trees have walked there. It almost seems as if they just landed there. Not as if from a great height, but there wasn't a tree there, and now there is, and the soil is disturbed as a result of it. The cobblestones in the street are disturbed as a result of it. And in some cases, the roots don't quite penetrate as deeply into the ground, so they curl up onto the side of houses, against doors and windows, or in Asket's case, the front entrance to his tavern. Yeah, with a 23, you're able to quickly scamper up to the roof. At a little bit higher elevation, looking around, It appears Valetaire, as far as you can see, is inside of a forest. Trees are rising up taller than most buildings. It becomes a battle of how far you can see by sort of maneuvering yourself to look further down in between these trees. And there isn't a huge amount of I guess there is like a degree of excitement in the city as people are trying to figure out like what to do with their day, but people still need to eat. People still need to go to work. People still need to try to figure out what to do. So even amidst all of this chaos, people are still trying to get out and make things happen. You do see that further to the south, maybe 2 or 3 boulevards away, you can see a lot of smoke is sort of billowing up as if there's some sort of disturbance. But aside from that, it appears that Valetaire is, as far as you can see, covered with trees.
So I can't see the edge of it. It hasn't like I don't know how to describe it, but right. So it hasn't just hit the city CBD or anything. It's
not like this one square boulevard. It's like, as far as you can see, looking around, it appears to be this whole area.
Yep. Cool. All right. So I guess scamper back in the window like a squirrel.
I'd like to be waiting for him with my arms crossed, just like. Well.
If any of you have seen Hereditary, just imagine like, the mother running along the wall. No, I love that movie. Sorry.
No, I love it, but I also hate it and will never watch it again as long as I live.
Right. All right. So I scamper back in the window and I say, "Well, it looks as though the whole city's covered in woods. I couldn't see any end to it. If we got a higher vantage point, we might be able to see the edge of the woods. It might give us a good place to start."
I mean, if we're going to the center of the woods, we just go anywhere.
Yep. Yes.
And it's all downhill, and if it's going to start going downhill, we'll eventually find a downhill. I don't really want to go to the edge of the forest to find the center of the forest.
Not necessarily go there, but it might be informative to find out how far this effect has spread, whether it's just Valtaire and the pre-existing woods, or if the trees have moved, or if new trees have grown, or if it's just everywhere now as far as we can see.
I think you're right. However, we won't really work much out sitting in a tavern, so shall we get ready to go?
Let's.
Yes,
I would like to suggest that nobody climbs the trees.
Yeah.
Are you staring at Aradan as you suggest that?
Why not?
No, that's fair.
Out of nowhere, last time someone climbed a tree, it tried to kill them.
Oh, but that doesn't happen.
Can I also just say, can we at least...
I'm angry.
This is nice.
Can we try and have a buddy system today? We know what happened last time. We lost some people to the weird shit. So can we just, like, have a buddy that we just make sure is always around, stay as a group, you know?
Yes, potentially as well if we're going to be buddying up. Making sure someone that, can take a bit of a hit goes with someone that does not necessarily directly want to be engaging in, like, hand-to-hand combat, for example. Just so,
Look after Aradan.
Okay, well, they're together. Bryn and I are obviously both very capable of taking a hit. So I guess we'll go with either of you two.
You know what, Oriana is as well. I was kind of thinking the three of us with the...
I forget that Oriana's a cleric. Also, for some reason, like, I don't see clerics as tanky, even though they are, clearly. It's just that, I don't know, clerics feel like they should be running around in robes and, like, stuff. I don't know. It's a mental block that I need to get around, okay?
Yeah, dude! I'm offended!
Or even, we can just focus on the next person, I focus on, I don't know, let's say Oriana, and then Oriana focuses on Eridan, and then by that we have this whole ring of people looking out for each other.
Okay, but yeah, we did have 2 people walk past a tree and disappear first.
Yeah.
I don't think just keeping an eye on someone is going to be quite enough.
But also tying ourselves together didn't work either. So
No. So
maybe
that's
we
why
should
I'm
also
saying that
plan.
if we have
I'm not
someone,
holding anybody's hand.
Oh, okay.
but yes, if we have someone that again, like a little bit tankier, goes with someone that's maybe not so much, so that you kind of have all bases covered.
It is not an Oriana thing to do, but I so badly want to be like, dibs not Emmy.
It's alright. Eminence is like avoiding all eye contact with Oriana as this conversation is going on. It is implied.
And I like
they
that,
will
like,
not
we
be
suggest it, and you're immediately like, Eridan.
Yeah, it's like maybe like
Got a
people
new
that can take a
favorite.
hit more. Yeah, we both definitely can take a hit a lot, so we'll be fine together.
We're
Okay.
obviously the popular ones, so like it just makes sense.
So
What?
so what are the pairs?
Apparently, Eridan and Eminence.
Yeah, we got that.
Neither of us can take a hit. I'd just like to point out of character. Just
Eminence does not know. You think she has self-awareness? Eminence
No,
thinks that she's
okay,
one of the
cool.
tanks.
As long as that's what we're going with, all good.
She has the power of her daddy god behind her.
All right,
Oh,
let's
God.
attempt this then.
Regret saying daddy god.
Okay, well, the remaining four of us, if Eminence and Eridan think that, just question, what would be the front line out of the two of you? So
Well-
someone like runs at you with a sword.
Yes,
I mean,
Eminence,
realistically-
Eridan would run
Oh,
away
okay.
and fire from a distance because he's good with a bow,
Hmm.
and I would fight the attacker.
It's like
Absolutely not.
hand-to-hand combat. Or like armed combat.
I don't know if you've noticed, but I can also do magic.
Yes, I've also noticed that you typically don't like to get amongst it when there's a fight. You like to I actively remember you not attacking anyone in our first instance of someone attacking us.
That was strategic.
Can I present a counter offer? When you and Bryn disappeared for that little while, you came back alive. Could be a good example of
We did indeed,
You
Bryn.
know?
See, I am helpful.
That's not
Yeah.
what I was
Can't
getting
go
at.
in this. Someone hold my hand. Who's going to hold my hand?
I mean, I can hold your hand
Someone
right
hold
now,
both
irrespective
hands.
for you, Aery, and Bryn will hold Aery's hand
Thank
right
you.
now.
Eminence, do you go for the hand as well?
Yeah, I'll hold his other hand. We're just
So-
like a little chain.
Aery says, "Someone hold my hand," and then the two of you both just lean in from the other side and take one of Aery's hands.
And continue our conversation.
Yeah.
Zero acknowledgement. Just like a
Yeah.
toddler backing into a conversation. Like, Mommy.
Yes, well, I'm happy. I'm more than happy to go with Eminence, but if Eminence thinks that she's going to be capable on the front lines, if her and Eridan get whisked away, or spirited away,
It's fine. If you want to join us, you just have to ask.
that
Well,
would
maybe
go
we s-
against being a pair of people, though, if there was three of us.
What if we go in groups of 3 instead of groups of 2?
There
Look,
are 6 of us.
I think we've already discussed the idea that probably anything bigger than 2 might be too hard to keep track of. Eminence,
Yes.
you go with Bryn.
Okay, but not because you told me to.
Okay, it was your decision.
Yes.
Great
We
decision,
love,
Eminence.
love a team player.
Good
Thank you,
decision.
Eminence.
So if
Natalie, I'll go with you.
Okay. Would you like a piggyback as well?
Yes, please.
Of course. It's logical. It keeps us together.
Are we taking horses?
Right. Horses.
I don't know if horses is the best idea through a forest. Although, was it just the carts that were having problems on the routes, or were the horses
If we're going
The horses were having a lot of trouble as well on the streets and boulevards. The uneven terrain is really, really difficult for them.
Yeah, I would assume, especially as we got like close to the heart of the forest, it would become like very thick. So probably not enough horses.
I mean, Arden can come with us still, though, because I can communicate with him. I don't need to be riding him necessarily, and that means that if something happens, someone gets injured or something like that, we do have the assistance there of having a steed.
Yeah, that works. He can seem to handle himself. But I don't know if he'll be able to come the whole way. He's so big.
Well, again, though, I can communicate with him telepathically from quite a distance.
Ooh, can he shrink? Can he change size?
No, he's an elk.
Oh, like a regular elk you've made friends with.
No, but he is an elk.
Okay.
He's like a magic one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I thought maybe he can do magic stuff. Like,
This
don't know.
is his chosen form when he is on this plane.
right, okay.
Also, a lot of
Yeah.
us can do magic and we can't all become little tiny versions of ourselves.
Oh, that would be like really cute though if Arden could just become like a smaller Arden.
That would be adorable. See, look,
Anyway,
an
this is
Eminence.
so
You might have an elk with you. Again, I really commend your decision.
So
Thank you, but I
if
don't
it
think
helps, if it helps smooth things over, Emmy. So when Aery got me that cloak pin the other day, I felt bad that I had nothing to give him and nothing to give you, so I did some shopping on the side, and I got the both of you these. And out of my backpack, I pull a pair of silver bracelets.
They're like best friend bracelets. Look at that.
Dan, you shouldn't have. Oh, they're really pretty.
That's so pretty.
So
Oh, I'll
awesome.
definitely put mine straight on and just be like, oh, Eridan, you shouldn't have, and like compare with Aery and kind of look around at everyone else in the room, like, where the cool kids.
After the hand holding and the I'm gonna give you a piggyback and now the friendship bracelets, Oriana is seriously considering just going fucking home. Honestly, what the shit, man.
Everyone's just happy to be here.
It's logical. If you're giving someone a piggyback, you can't lose them.
Dan, you didn't need to get us something in return, but this is so nice.
well,
Yes,
it's nice to
beautiful.
be able to do, though. I'm glad you like them, and we'll see each other again soon.
Aery would just go to like Emmy, just like what? And like compare
You
like
like
bracelets.
clack them together and just be like,
So should we get like rations organized and get on the road?
Don't we already
Yes,
have a
we
bunch?
probably should.
We do have some rations, but we were out for a full day the other day. I mean, out of character, I assume we did eat our day rations because it took a whole day to travel there and back the other day. I don't think that Aery and Eminence definitely didn't get multiple days of rations. I think Natalie and Bryn.
We got
did
double,
had
I
the
think,
chocolate.
because
because we were skeptical that certain party members would know how to feed themselves. So I think we do have multiple days rations, but would still stock up again because we don't know. We're going into like Fae territory essentially, so we don't know timey-wimey thing how it's going to work. So I would recommend if we just get like a couple of days at least of rations, we can definitely forage. Worst comes to worst, it is a forest, and this time of year there'd actually probably be some quite nice mushrooms, but it's not. It's better to not have to rely on us finding things in the forest.
Well, Aery and I spoke to Ascap this morning. He said he was going to bring up some breakfast. Perhaps we could have a chat to him and see if he could arrange something for us to take on the road as well.
He did. We gave him notice last time, so hopefully he has something prepared that would work.
Hopefully.
Just as an aside, before we head out there, if perchance this forest thing is our fault, do you think we can blame the bears?
I think that if something is your fault, you should take responsibility and do your best to remedy it.
Interesting
We should do our
contribution.
best to remedy it, but don't tell anyone that we did it.
Okay.
No, we don't need to necessarily tell people, but we definitely should try and fix it if we are in any way contributing to the problem.
Look, I believe that I was the one who took it down anyway. If anything happens, just blame me.
No,
No,
Natalie, don't be such a
blaming
martyr. We don't do
anyone.
that.
That's provided
at
that
that
anything of
point-
this is even our fault.
The door swings open. What's whose fault? And Ascat kind of walks in with a big old sampler tray. He's got like a whole bunch of different
Hey.
fruits and meats and oats and like ciders.
It was quite
Um,
funny last night. A couple of things happened, but we can't talk about it. You know, dinner parties, what happens at the dinner party stays at the dinner party, Ascat.
All right.
Wink.
And he puts the tray on the table and folds his arms against his side.
How did
So,
it go?
oh, I just, once we got the pins out, I haven't taken them out in a long time. The whole thing just came right off. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Now everyone can get in if they want to. I mean,
It's a
if
good-
you can't
good
stop anyone
breeze.
from getting in, but I'm sure it's
Yeah.
Just make sure if you do try and cut any trees down, be aware of where the tree is going to fall and land, because they seem to be very big, and there's a lot of buildings around here.
Right. Well, I had somebody for that, and I don't quite know where they wandered off to. But the tree, we're gonna leave it there.
Oh,
how
I
nice.
think that's a very good decision.
Yeah.
Sorry to bother you again. Thank you so much for breakfast. Would you be able to get us some rations together? We're going to go into the heart of the forest and do some investigating.
My pleasure. And he kind of rubs his hands and starts
Thank you.
heading out of the room. Closes the door behind him.
Ration! Success!
I realize that we've just organized rations, but should we try still and get in contact with our friend? I think it
His name is Zestria.
is.
But
He
he's
not
our
our friend?
I mean, he's definitely Aery and Eridan's friend. Well, like pleasant acquaintances that kind of helped save his life.
Yeah, I'm sure if he's going to show up, he'll show up. And if he doesn't, well, that's too bad, I guess.
Okay,
Follows us into the forest again.
just
Sure, he
Out
wouldn't do that
an
again.
escort.
That was pretty stupid and he almost died. I don't think he'll try again.
Okay, so if he's not here by the time we leave, how about we leave a note saying, don't follow us into the forest this time. We will contact you when we get back.
maybe
Yeah,
let's
and
not
there-
tell him about the forest.
We have gone on an expedition
It's
to an
gone.
unknown location. We will contact you when we get back.
And
Yes.
maybe we should get him to like leave his contact details at the
Please.
desk. So when
Yes,
he's back, we
we have
can
a
actually-
forwarding address, and we will get in contact when we
Perhaps
get back.
we can even tell him we went to the castle. Maybe if he gets in touch with El Romeo and the Ladry. He seems like a pretty,
Studious.
smart and he might be able to help them.
But isn't that a lie? We didn't go to the castle. Well, I mean, I guess we did.
Well, he'll
but-
go
we
there,
did
he'll
have
ask
one
about
of the
us,
day,
and then hopefully get into a conversation.
It could work.
Are you assessed?
He might show up though.
It's got to be better than
I-
saying unknown expedition and knowing that the last place we went was the forest.
Are you suggesting we misdirect him and say, "Oh, we've gone to this safe space over here. Please
Well,
don't
he
follow
doesn't need to know that we left. He just knows that we went to the castle. We chose to go to the castle afterwards. To the forest afterwards.
That's true.
Anyway,
do that.
rations and
We have
heading out.
like 20 minutes to get here. And if not, then it's a future problem for us.
True.
You are able to acquire rations. Ascat comes by with individually packaged and bagged rations for each of you, and they're easily distributed amongst the rest of the group. Well, is there anything else I can do?
Yes, Aery had a message.
All right.
Oh yeah,
What do
I
you
did.
got?
I forgot about that. Yeah, so you know our friend Destia, he is probably going to come here to look for us, but I will probably be gone. I mean, unless he gets here like really soon because we're about to leave. So could you tell him that we went to the castle and also get some contact details from him because we don't know where he lives, so we can't tell him where we're going and stuff. So this keeps happening, and we have to leave like messages with you, and it's super confusing.
Right. Well, he's not really. You don't need rations to go to the castle, so
Oh no, see,
I like what you're thinking. He probably can't handle himself out there.
no, he's kind of useless, but
Yeah.
nice.
I once saw him try to use a butter knife to cut a steak. Oh, it was the best thing. It took him 15 minutes to get a single bite. It was hilarious.
You have to, respect the tenacity, though.
He committed. He did commit.
Sometimes that's all you need. Just some commitment.
Sometimes it gets you killed. We'll see which one it is.
Right. So to the castle. I'll tell him.
Yes.
Talk to our friends there. His name's I can't remember.
El Romeo.
El Romeo. Yeah. To talk to them about what's going on. I guess.
El Romeo. He was the lanky one with all the books and scrolls last night, right?
Yes.
Very good.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, with the tall, pretty one.
But yeah, if Destria does show up, if you could please get some contact details or something from him, like how it is best for us to contact him, because we have no idea whatsoever.
Can do.
Cool. I feel like at this point should have just taken that initiative himself since this has happened so many times, but he's new and we're stupid, so.
I mean, you've got bigger things to worry about. Sometimes you've got just tiny things, and sometimes you've got world-altering problems to deal with. I expect you're going to try to figure out what's going on in the street.
Yes, well, we are going into the heart of the forest anyway, but it does not seem coincidental that if we're going into the forest, there's probably something there that caused this to happen.
Right. Well, best of luck. Come back tonight or tomorrow or whenever you come back.
We will.
We'll definitely be back.
If we
I'll
don't
keep your
go in
rooms
the
open.
forest, I don't think we will. We're pretty good.
Yeah, you six look like you can handle yourselves.
No,
All right, well, I'll keep your rooms
fine.
open. And Aska makes his way out, looking like he's getting ready to head back to work.
All right, well, I guess we should make our way out ourselves. Unless anyone else had anything they needed to pick up or do beforehand.
No.
I'm good.
So, question. How do we head to the center of the woods when we don't know where we are in relation to the center of the woods?
The center is down, right?
Yeah, so if we can at least see the path, even if the path is not clear itself, if we can see the path, we can essentially follow it to where we were going. There was the crossroads that we got to that split off, and one was leading towards the heart of the forest. We don't know yet how much it's affected the forest itself, because this is the forest has moved into the city over established paths, but the path going through the forest, we don't know yet because we haven't gotten to that point yet. We don't know what that's going to be like, but hopefully we can just see it still at least, and we can follow it to an extent.
Am I able to attempt to perceive the direction that we should go?
Make a perception check for center of forest.
I would like to
Well,
see
yeah,
through
that
tree and go through forest.
And while she's doing that, can
She's already done it. Somebody else should attempt to do it as well.
Well, I didn't know whether we could just assume that we were going to do
What's the
it.
damage?
It's a 7.
Oh.
7?
No, wait, that's a lie. It's a 6.
You look left, you look right. It's trees as far as the eye can see.
So, can I do a nature check to try and try and look at the placement of the trees and see if there's anything in their pattern or their layout that indicates, where the center of the forest might be.
Sure, make a nature check.
And that is, I am using electronic dice today. That is a 16.
16?
Yeah.
You have no idea.
Nuts.
Do we at least... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, do we at least know enough about the city to know how to get out of the city? Like, to
Yeah,
be able to be
yeah.
like, this is roughly the place, so we can at least be like, let's start outside of the city at least.
So the Golden Tankard is on the northwest side of the city.
Mhm.
It's not that far away. It's probably about what would normally be a 20 or 30 minute walk to get to the edge of the city, probably going to be a little slower if it's trees all the way out. The alternative is to go about 20 or 30 minutes into the center of the city and then try to find your way out from that way. It's
put it to the party, but we may as well just try and go back out to the exit from where we were going into the forest before, right? If the forest has taken over the city, it's not like the center of the forest is going to be here.
Yes,
May as well just try and get out.
presume we just attempt to head in the direction we would have anyway, and hopefully we can pick up the path on the maps once we get out of this new forest area.
Exactly.
So which direction are you headed?
So we want to go south,
South.
right?
Okay.
Because we want to head to
the
exit.
Yeah, this current boulevard runs east-west.
Mhm.
So just in terms of like general direction, heading straight south, you'll probably have to like navigate through a whole bunch of residential districts. It's probably easier to head either towards the center of town and south or towards the edge of town and follow along.
Through the
and see
center
if
of
it
town
stops
and
over there.
south was the way that we went to get out of the city before it was a whole bunch of
Yes.
trees. So that
when
way.
it was much larger boulevards and broadways.
Yeah. But even though there's trees there now, at least we know that way. It's familiar to us in some degree. Probably sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, that's what I would suggest.
Cool. So the six of you head out towards the center of town to follow the larger paths south. And as you start to get clear of sort of the upscale district that houses the Golden Tankard and the noble families that live nearby, you begin to see these smaller and smaller houses where people's windows are open and there's like a tree branch reaching into the window. You can see that there are carts that are sort of like overturned sideways, and merchants are just like looking disappointedly at like trying to figure out like how to re-hitch the cart to the horse. You can see you actually do see a surprisingly large number of for lack of a better term, woodworkers, lumberjacks, people going to and fro with axes, saws, some people running with daggers and swords to head towards different parts of towns as they're trying to basically create this boom industry of like cutting branches to accommodate whatever is going on in the town of Valetaire. And it does take you a little bit longer to reach the center of town just by the complexity of how the path has been effectively ruined by all of these trees. But when you do reach the keep at the center of town, you can see that even the keep itself has trees inside of it. The large stone walls and the wooden gate that's open is currently split. In the direct center of that middle wooden gate is an enormous oak that rises up incredibly tall, probably about 50 or 60 feet or so above those stone walls, and seems to challenge the sort of twisting central spire of the keep itself. And again, the militia of the town are coming and going. Town guard are heading every which way to try to handle this. It seems like everyone and their mother has gotten called in for work today, so it is an absolute nexus of activity. But quickly heading back down towards the south, you see that the trees have pretty largely covered the entirety of Valetaire. Side alleys, narrow gaps between buildings are now blocked off because there's an enormous pine just in the center of it, making traversal impossible. So people have to go all the way around. Gaps in between buildings on the left and right are filled with smaller saplings. You can see shrubberies in some locations that previously didn't exist around the feet of these trees. It seems as though all of the vegetation has just decided that this is where we're going to be now. So Valetaire is trying to deal with it. All in all, it takes you the better part of an hour to make your way past the south end of town, past the woodworking districts, past the mercantile districts, before you finally get towards the low-income residences, and finally what would normally be the end of the city, but is not the end of the forest. As you start to reach some of the last houses more densely clustered around Valater, and you get to more what would be open space, you can see that the forest continues on around Valater, as if the entire city has just been swallowed up by this enormous wood. Reaching the edge of town, you guys are now at the edge of Valater.
I would imagine that, like, with our pair of buddies, we would be, like, paying attention to where they are. But also, did any of us see along the way here any kind of weird thing where, like, maybe someone went, like, by a building and they randomly disappeared? Like, anything that would have been, like, making us think back to the time when, you know, Bryn and Eminence just disappeared directly in front of us. You know, like, just trying to kind of see whether the weird, wacky stuff is happening in the city too. I don't know whether...
Yeah, I'll let you guys make perception checks to look for that. I'll let all 6 of you make a perception check.
That laughter is always a good sign.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20, nice.
13.
What was that? You cut out at the beginning?
13.
13. I only heard teen. I was like, that's a range. 17, okay.
12.
12.
Still above 10.
5.
Oh.
5. Eminence is making a look. What do you got?
3.
3.
So that's a natty 1.
See, why would they be terrible partners?
Eminence is trotting along on her horse, just staring at the bracelet.
Yeah.
I think we have the horses.
Oh no, we didn't have the horses. Just walking along,
But
staring at the bracelet.
she can be riding Arden if she wants. Because elk have cloven hooves, so he wouldn't be struggling with the trees as much.
I
the horse.
don't think she would have had the nerve to ask to ride Arden.
Bryn would have offered, because Bryn's happy more.
Oh, well, in that case, she's riding Arden.
So the 5 of you are walking, and Eminence is riding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Bryn's smart enough to know that this is probably going to make all our lives easier in some way.
Oh,
she's not a smart couple, but she's charisma smart, so...
I know why my perception is so low. I'm spending this time, I've taken my silver chains off of my horns, and I'm wrapping them artfully around Arden's horns, telling him how pretty he looks in them.
That's good. Yeah, and now the 6 of you are at the edge of town, having looked for any of that good old Fae bullshit that we all know and love. Even with a dirty 20, none of you spot anything out of the ordinary. It seems as if the town is more dealing with the fact that it is now a forest town than a town next to a forest.
Well, at least we think that nothing bad is happening here.
So,
onward.
Eridan is gonna be looking real twitchy for most of this. He'll be following along with the party, but like hovering towards the edges of buildings and stuff, and just generally looking like he's about to bolt, but proceeding.
As his assigned buddy, do I notice this behavior?
Eridan is not, in fact, your buddy by my math.
No, Bryn is...
Oh, no. See, this is why the buddy system never works.
Maybe for Eminence.
Because she forgets.
It's just like, is my buddy like Aery or?
Hey, Emmy doesn't need to walk now, at least.
Yeah, now Arden's my buddy now.
Yeah. I know, that's where it's all gone wrong, is Emmy's just like, we are buddies.
Yeah.
So who's Bryn with?
Bryn is with
Weird for Bryn to be out on her own, huh? Strange choice for her. Hey, Arden.
Very funny. Yeah, there is no Fey bullshit that you can see. I think Aery, you're probably the one who would notice the most that Eridan is looking a little sketchy, a little scattered.
The area is up on Natalie's shoulders, or like getting back. So may notice, but probably isn't going to point it out. Just like yell down, be like, "Dad, what's wrong?" So maybe we'll like bring it up later if we take a rest or something, but like not right now.
To be fair, if he's lagging behind, Oriana's gonna have none of that shit.
Yeah, I believe it's Oriana and Eridan are
Just like pulling him along by the
buddies.
collar, just like.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So the 6 of you are at the edge of town. You can see I hesitate to say remains of the path that continues south on that you traveled just a few days ago. But you can see that there are trees that have just landed on top of this path. And as you sort of pass around these trees, you can see that it still continues on as it originally intended to. It just appears to be a little bit more difficult to traverse linearly just by the density of the trees. So the 6 of you are just going to continue on following it?
Yeah.
If that's the way that we need to go, I think we would just follow as well as we can.
I guess we were told to follow the path when we went into the forest anyway, so I guess we're still following it.
So the 6 of you start to head along the path, and there are a lot of people on this path, more so than when you previously continued on into the deep wood the very first time. You can see, again, a lot of woodworkers are heading out to try to make sense of this situation. It seems as though the entire city is just completely abuzz with activity, even outside of the city, just by the nature of this experience. As the 6 of you start to head further and further, you get about 30 minutes away from the city. You get about an hour away from the city, an hour and a half, when you finally start to see that you're away from the real density of the city and the people itself. And it's after about 2 hours of traveling south, getting close to probably about 10 or so in the morning, that you begin to notice that the trees are thinning a little bit more. And within the next 10 or 15 minutes or so, it becomes abundantly more clear that that is in fact the case. As you continue heading south and head towards that 2.5 hour mark, you get back towards almost like a more sparse version of the deep wood that you traveled through initially. The path is still there, winding towards the south. However, you can now see further off into the distance than you could prior. You can see hill and elevation changes several hours away, as there are just some natural hills climbing up and ravines adjacent to them. But in the immediate area around you, there seems to be less trees than when there were originally.
So we still get the impression that that circular kind of the thing that go down is ahead of us still.
The
I couldn't
basin.
think of what that's what it's called. I was like, what's the word?
Yeah.
The thing?
And also that maybe the trees have moved rather than just more trees everywhere.
It's like when
all the time.
animals are scared, they run off. The trees did the same thing.
Maybe.
Can't believe that's a sentence that I've said.
I wish we'd stayed up to see
Indeed.
them. It would have been so cool.
Hmm.
I wonder if anyone
Yeah.
did see it.
Well, yeah, it must have been early morning, right? If we sent the others back at like
We didn't check on them. What if they got eaten by trees or something?
I don't know
I
if
think
trees
that'd be-
eat people necessarily, unless it's like the tree ant.
We can't rule it out. We don't know.
What if it's like in a video game when like the environment spawns on you and then you like disappear?
You no clip.
Yeah, get
Yeah.
crushed to death.
Dead people are very good nutrients. The trees definitely could have eaten them.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true. It is still, I guess, considered consumption.
Maybe that's how they grew so big so fast.
All the trees are people.
as this happens, Aery, as you were having this conversation, you see probably about 500 meters to the south, near a small ridge, one of the trees stops and looks back at the six of you, and then looks away and starts walking away into the woods.
Ah, that tree! Look, that tree is. It looked at us and now it's walking. Can you see it? It's moving right now.
Oh, it must be another treant. I mean, I don't think they're always. I mean, I know that they're not usually innately like aggressive necessarily, but I don't know if it will be like conversational either. And we'd have to stray off the path. Are we okay with doing that?
If it can see us, though, surely we can just yell out to it, right? If it wants
Can
to
I,
avoid us, it'll just.
So it's about 500 meters away. It's very far. Looking to where Aery pointed it out, by the time the rest of you sort of look, you can see it almost disappearing behind the hill.
Should we follow it? Or should we not?
If we're comfortable in straying off the path. But it means that what is the trajectory of the path we're on? Will that take us in the vague direction of it, or is the path kind of moving away from it?
Sort of. So currently you guys are heading directly south. The creature that you just saw is to the southeast. Maybe 250 meters off the side of the path if you were to continue down, but from your current location about 500 meters off.
I mean, we would have to go off the path to be more directly going towards it, but we need to be comfortable in doing that.
I mean, you went off the path last time and it was okay.
It was okay for some of us. Just not all of us. So we need to be prepared that some of us might get spirited away.
It's okay, we have buddies.
We do have buddies. I'm fine with doing that as long as everyone else is. I didn't want to just say, like, let's do it, and then people not want to.
Well, we already know that there are those creatures in the woods. Is it even helpful to follow this one? It's probably just.
It's nice to know what's going on, though.
I feel perhaps we wait, and if we see one closer, we'll chat to them. Running 500 meters off the
more
path
important.
seems like the best idea.
I think it's more important to keep going inwards. Surely we'll see more of them as we approach the center.
You keep an eye out. You spotted this one, you might spot another.
I'll keep looking for.
Sorry.
Aery, you can be the tree spotter.
I will! And I'm up so high now, I can see them more easily.
I would like to imagine too that like it's not like a piggyback. It's like the kind of one where like your legs are around their head, so you're like got your arms free and everything.
Just pinwheeling the arms. Excellent. So
We
you're
can't hear you.
continuing along the.
Oh, I don't know if
Just continuing along the path.
Yes, Aery, if you keep an eye out, we are going like roughly in the direction of where it went, so maybe you'll see it again.
Excellent. Continuing on towards the south, the path continues to thread and snake its way naturally along the path. The path continues to path its way along the path. Sure thing, Dom.
makes sense.
Yeah, it continues to navigate south. Within about an hour, you see that the path actually begins to start rising up in elevation towards the southwest to follow the ridge of a hill. And as the path starts to climb upwards a little bit, within 3 or so minutes, very, very quickly, you actually notice that up on the hill itself, the trees are significantly more dense. Or, sorry, less dense. On the hill, the trees are significantly less dense. And you get the impression that if you were to continue up towards the top of this hill, you would probably have a pretty clear line of sight for a lot of the area around you. However, that does take you up onto a hill which curves like one of the arms of the galaxy up and away from the center.
And we knew that was what this part did. All of the paths are on higher parts of the
Yes.
like the ridges or whatever.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess we can go up there it might take a little longer, but at least we're still following the path.
So I guess what do I want? Maybe Arcana check. So the hill itself you're talking about, does it just look like a regular hill? Are there any kind of markings or piles of stones or anything like that? And if there are, would I know what?
Sure, make a perception check.
Okay.
Did we bring the maps with us? I feel like we would have, but nobody
Surely.
said.
You think?
You would think. We didn't mention it, but
Nobody said anything.
I hope that's the kind of thing that can just go unsaid.
yeah, I
did.
feel like in the very least, Bryn would have packed the maps for us.
Yeah.
That is a dirty 20, which I did not expect.
It's not like we have luggage.
20.
Like, we would probably be taking everything with us.
Yeah, with an unnatural 20, there don't appear to be like clusters of rocks or runes or arcane symbols along this hill. It just appears to be a natural hill.
Alright, cool.
Go up and take a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the six of you continue along the path, and it continues to wind up naturally onto this smoother, sort of gentle slope. And within about, I would say, 25 or 30 minutes of continuing up at a moderate pace, you finally break through the last of the sparse trees on this hill, and looking out around you, you can see that you're not actually too high in elevation. You're probably only about 800 to 1,000 feet above what would be flat elevation at Valater. But from this elevation, you can actually see the natural ridges of whatever elevation makes up this particular part of the deep wood. You can see to the south, more of these ridges are sort of rising up and curving in an almost circular pattern, creating this central bowl in the center off in the distance. And it is still quite a distance away. Towards a ridge on the opposite side, it would probably take you about 2 or so days travel on foot. Heading towards the center specifically, you could perhaps get there by nightfall. Especially considering there is no direct path into the center, and considering it is significantly more dense in trees at lower elevation. Specifically, along the edges of these ridges, you do note the trees slowly becoming more and more populous as they get back down towards ground level, but you also can see in the center of this valley of ridges, there is, in fact, a natural basin. Probably, I don't know, I'd say about 1,000 meters from side to side, roughly circular in shape, not unlike the nucleus of a cell. You can very clearly make out a copse of orange and red-leaved trees, almost sinking deeper into the ground as if the basin is getting lower and lower. And it is a very stark transition from healthy, green, fertile leaves to this circular, almost blight of trees in the center of these natural ridges.
Oh, that looks so much further than I thought.
Yeah.
And she leaned dramatically on the neck of, what is
Arden.
his name? Arden, yeah.
She's not even walking and she's complaining.
She's the only one not walking.
Well, at least it's like a shining target on where we need to go.
Yeah, I guess now it's when we leave the path, right?
Call that a trap. I mean, you're probably right, but I'm sure this won't go well.
Well,
do the best we can.
I believe what we worked out from the maps is we can follow the ravines to kind of get more of a clear path, but that could be kind of treacherous.
So what choice do we have? We kind of have to get there, right?
Well, I think the path still like kind of loops around though, right? Like it kind of gradually goes down.
So the path curves along the ridge, following the higher elevation the whole way. It almost seems, from what you can see, as if the path deliberately avoids going lower in elevation.
Well, fuck you, path. Guess we'll go down some ravines.
as the six of you are standing there having this conversation, Aery, as usual with your higher passive perception, you can see probably a cluster of maybe 4 or 5 trees farther off in the distance, a couple of miles away, all at once, simultaneously shift and sway, and then sink down into the forest itself, leaving just a almost like a bald spot of a gap in the trees that you kind of have to look for to see. It was only the movement that brought it to your attention.
Oh my god, I just saw some trees like go swimming in the ground. They just went like all the way under and disappeared.
Oh, maybe that's how they move. Maybe it's like I don't know if it's like teleportation, but maybe they travel like via their root system. They go like underground and then they just come back up.
Maybe, I guess it would make sense that they're not just like walking around or something.
I guess it also makes sense if you went into that weird void space. Maybe that's exactly how they move.
Oh, you're a genius. Maybe we should go and look.
I mean, we need to go off the path at some point.
I hate to say it, but I think that's the direction we should head.
Why do you hate to say it?
Because trees just disappeared.
Oh, I thought you just didn't want to do that. Like, agree with me.
No. I'm happy to agree with you when you're right. But the trees disappeared into the ground, and it doesn't seem like the safest place to go, but I think it's where we should head.
Yeah, and in this case, you do seem right.
I am.
If we're going off the path, I guess Bryn will like just grab like a handful of Arden's mane, so that because if Eminence is riding him, that Bryn is like directly kind of connected to them.
Okay. So the six of you were just heading off the path towards that bald spot, or heading towards the center. You could probably, if you decided to try to go directly towards the center, you could probably try to get there maybe around nightfall. However, it would probably be very difficult. Following natural ravines and fissures would be easier going. However, it would take longer. You would probably get there well after nightfall towards the ostensible center. Making a detour towards the bald spot would sort of depend on if you guys were trying to take a direct path or follow natural ravines.
I would imagine.
Do we want to arrive there in darkness? I mean, is it worth taking our time to the point that we get there at sunup?
And if we're going to stay overnight, ravines kind of give us some kind of natural walls and shelter.
I mean, we did ask for like multiple days of rations, so I think we've got a couple of days of food, so it depends on what we prefer to do.
Maybe it's worth, heading a little bit further in until sundown and then camping out for the night.
I agree. Let's be strategic. Don't want to, start tumbling down into the center of a unknown forest or something.
Yeah, and if we spend all night together and then we have to like fight something like when we reach, then that would be so tiring.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like fun.
It's just so inconvenient.
I know.
Well, then
So
check the bold spot out then, and then follow the ravines until sundown.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. So heading towards the bald spot, it'll probably take you about an hour or so to head towards that particular area. As you start to descend down the hills, I will need someone to take the lead and try to direct the party towards that location. And that's going to involve a number of nature checks.
I got a +1 to nature, so
It's not.
Eminence will stride forward on like lead Arden forward, like without consulting anyone else, and be like, "This way."
Oh, Bryn will like telepathically just be like, "Just don't go quickly." Like, I am walking next to you.
I thought
right.
Fun fact:
good name.
Eminence actually has a +5 on nature check.
Oh my god!
So.
Nice work. Nice work.
Damn. So go ahead and make I guess I should have been a little bit more clear. Nature or survival to lead the party in that direction.
Can I
Negative
go
one
with
or positive
nature?
one?
I mean,
It's
let's. Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay, so that is 7.
7, yeah. You see Eminence leads the way, and she looks completely confident. And she knows exactly what she was doing. This way, over this branch, down this path.
Bryn rolled a 17 on survival.
Sure. Over this path, we can follow this little spring here. Oh, okay. Now we go this way. We go over this little hill. Oriana, how good are you at recognizing when your sister is lying?
When she's lying,
Yeah.
I would say pretty good, usually.
Mm-hmm. You get the sense that Eminence knew exactly where to go and has probably forgotten the actual direction for a number of minutes now.
Oh no. Even I wouldn't want to call her out on just being lost.
Sure.
But my survival and my nature aren't very good. But should I roll to try and figure out where we're supposed to go and kind of subtly redirect, or?
So what I will say is, with your passive perception and your passive insight, you can see that Bryn is like, every time Eminence makes a call, Bryn kind of looks a slightly different direction and seems to do like a little bit of head math, and seems like she's just going along with it a little bit. What do you think? Yeah, Bryn, you definitely know that Eminence was right for 10 minutes and then immediately went into the wrong direction.
Can Bryn just
go
kind
heading in the right direction? I'm not going to say anything.
Can Bryn just again kind of to Arden just be like,
this way?
Just like gently, like, so that Emmy still thinks that she's kind of like with the reins leading Arden, be like, yeah, we're going here. Be like, Arden, just like start heading like just a little bit further right, kind of thing.
So what I'll have you do is roll stealth for Arden, and Eminence, I'll have you roll perception to see if you can see whether or not Arden is following your directions or going a different direction.
Let me just get elk stats up 1 second.
Elk
So
stealth.
18.
18.
Oh no. Oh wait, no, they +3. 1 sec. 19.
Hey, as far as you can tell, and you're watching Arden pretty closely. I mean, he's got your chains on his antlers. How can you not watch him right now? He's following your directions pretty faithfully. He's every now and again he's kind of going on the left side of the tree when you direct him to the right, or maybe he goes over this side of the brook, but it ends up being a little bit easier to get past this spring as he's sort of going through the underbrush and the fallen leaves. But all in all, you feel as if the direction is pretty faithful, and you 6 are able to traverse without incident for the first hour. Let's go ahead and get another survival or nature check.
I'll give it a shot. I've got a +3. How bad could it go?
Are you
Swear to
still
God, these
doing
guys
it for
are
the?
doing
It's the front
shit.
people though, right?
So
Is
it would be
Bryn and Emmy?
yeah, it
or
would be
other
Bryn and Eminence.
Yeah.
Okay. That is
You could definitely judge them in the back.
All right, I
Love an opportunity to be a judge.
because I got a real good roll.
people? Yeah,
Okay.
it's, 16 for Bryn.
And Eminence?
8.
8. And Eridan?
22.
22. So Eridan, heading into the second hour, you're sort of following along behind these two in the front of the way. Eminence still has her usual gusto of like, I know exactly what I'm doing. However, it becomes pretty clear that Eminence isn't leading the way, Arden is leading the way. And if Arden is leading the way, that means Bryn is leading the way. And you actually begin to see a couple of paths that Bryn begins to take that might be a little bit slower than what you think the party could navigate. For example, she goes around a larger copse of trees, whereas you see a natural pathway through the trees that's hidden just outside of sight that you're fairly certain you could get the party through without any trouble. Do you say anything, or do you just let Bryn continue to lead on? Because she's going the right direction. It's just not super efficient.
Yeah. All right. So So she's riding Arden, or is she walking?
No, Bryn's walking next to Arden. Emmy is riding Arden.
Right. So I'm just gonna kind of subtly walk up and just tap her on the shoulder and go, Are you sure that that's quite the right way? I could have sworn that map said that we had to go up here, and I'll just gesture in the correct direction.
I mean, we're definitely going in the correct path. What do you mean the wrong way? This is going to take us up to the bolt spot.
Well,
Do you guys have any questions?
No, we're talking about like the natural layout of the land. You're doing the leading, so I can have a side conversation because you're doing all the hard work.
All right, just checking. Thank you.
So stealth check, I guess. While that's going on.
Does Emmy need to be like? Is that what Emmy wants to? Does she need to be persuaded, or is that good enough? I guess would be the question.
So, hey, you told her she's in control. She wants to believe that with all her heart.
I'm gonna attempt to whisper in Bryn's ear without Eminence noticing. She definitely doesn't know where we're going. I think you're. I think. I
am definitely like, Arden's like kind of subtly like. I mean, so it's like faster the other way. I'm kind of.
Can I roll perception on this?
Sure.
Okay, so my stealth roll is 22. I don't know what's happening. I don't think I should be using these digital dice. I feel like they're cheating.
What's that? That's a face.
20. Unnatural 20.
Unnatural 20. Sure.
We need to roll perception or something, or
So I would say you're able to see them sort of whispering to each other pretty quietly. However, whether it's about you or something else, you can't tell.
I always assume it's about me when people are whispering. And I'll side-eye them and try to listen in, but I guess there's nothing I can really do about it at the moment. I'm too busy leading the party.
Yeah. I mean, they don't know where the bald spot is.
No.
Brynn will just be like, all right, sorry. So, it's just, I'm trying to kind of do two things at once. Emmy is leading, Arden's doing it. So which way did you want me to go?
Sorry, was that to me?
No, to Aery. Because this would take us to where we need to go, but do you have like a faster way?
So I just point up between the trees towards the hill around a couple of obstacles that I've noticed.
Oh, I didn't even see those. Okay. Yeah, no, that does seem like way better than where I was leading us. We were like going around, you can go right through. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. I will let the author know.
No worries. I'm less worried about that. I'm more worried just maybe keep an eye on Emmy.
Oh yeah, I have 2 sets of eyes. I were on the job. And Bryn will like telepathically to Arden just be like, oh yeah, you can actually like totes go straight through the middle of that cluster of trees. We don't need to go around.
Yeah. Eminence, you were telling Arden to go around the trees, and he just completely ignores your instructions and just starts plowing like straight through the middle. So every now and again, like a low-hanging branch just like goes right over your head, and you kind of have to duck out of the way.
Bryn, your steed is broken.
Oh, sorry. He just really likes trees. So, I mean, you're leading. You're in control, aren't you? You're holding the reins. You seem to know what you're doing. Do you feel out of control? Do you want me to ride him? Do you want me to take over?
Of course not. I'll allow him to have his fun. I just wanted to check.
Sorry, elks, they're wily creatures. Arden. And she'll just kind of wink at Arden.
Arden just gives you a long, slow blink.
And Bryn just in her head, she's like, I am so sorry. I know it's very awkward that you're the middleman, but just bear with it.
And
I'll
suddenly,
lean forward and just pat him and be like, easy, boy, easy,
Yep.
easy.
one of his ears just kind of like flicks a little bit. Suddenly, you're through the copse of trees. You're on the other side, and you realize that by some absolute stroke of luck, you guys have managed to pass around this sort of large barricade of fallen trees that you were just going to go all the way down and around and then back up the hill. But just passing through this copse of trees right here has probably saved you maybe 10 or 15 minutes of.
Emmy,
walking
you're
trouble.
really good at this.
Oh. Well, you know. You know.
And Brynjael will like turn back to Aaron and just like thumbs up.
Nice.
I'll keep leading Mom confidently. Posture perfect. Just absolutely in control of this situation.
Yep. Amazing. So it's towards the end of the second hour with the time save, Eridan, that you were able to get by pointing it out to the rest of the group, that the six of you finally come across this bald spot. And it's not so much a bald spot as it is
I comb over. I'm sorry.
amazing. The trees didn't sink into the ground. They didn't teleport or go somewhere else. They're still right here, but the bottom of the trees and the trunks are chipped and shredded and torn as if some great multi-clawed beast shredded them from the ground. They are absolutely ravaged and destroyed, and you can see gouges and cuts riding up along the sides of these trunks towards where the base of the tree would have been, where it seems as if the trees have just been ripped free from the ground and broken and bent unnaturally. And now that you're actually here, you can see that the area is a little bit larger. It's probably around 8 or 9 trees in this immediate area that have just been snapped and cracked and broken.
Natalie.
Not what I expected at all.
No, Natalie, you were the one that looked at the body of the treant, weren't you, to inspect the claw marks? Was that you or Ori?
Yeah, I looked. I think also. I
does
saw that
look like
eye roll. You also looked with me, Oriana.
Sorry, that was a thing. I rolled face. I'm trying to remember if I did. I think I did.
We both looked. Yeah.
Do these look like the same kind of claw marks to the two of you?
Do they look like the same claw marks? They
Make an
were.
investigation check.
Okay. Cool. Cool. That's not that good. That's a 12.
I get a 9.
I'll actually give you advantage because you would know what these are.
It's an 11.
So 12 it is. 18. Oriana, you get really close up to some of these broken and battered trunks and trees, and you're able to see that these aren't claw marks, these aren't gouge marks, these are axe marks, but not like one large battle axe. It's almost as if a whirling dervish of hatchets, an absolute storm of smaller axes, has shredded the bottom of these trees to something unimaginable. And just by the sheer brute force of these smaller axe swings have managed to split these trunks and tear them down.
I will pass that on with a theory that, you know, maybe there was a swarm of angry dwarves or something. Just because. Dwarves don't like trees very much. They're underground people.
Well, maybe. I'm just really shocked that I couldn't pick up what an axe mark was, considering I literally have one on my back.
I apologize. You came to the same conclusion, but a little bit slower.
No. I meant like that, as in a like, wow, she's drinking that dumb bitch juice. Like, like she hasn't had enough coffee today. Like, holy shit. It's almost like she rolled a 12 or something.
So do they know, was this what was on the treant, or this is completely different?
This is completely different than what was on the treant.
And
Good.
I thought I saw them like go into the ground, so I just saw them disappear from the canopy. Was it?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. I bet.
And I know you did post a GIF, but it is very like Tasmanian Devil-esque. There is no degree of decorum or form. It is just opening a wood chipper sideways and pushing it up against the side of a tree. There is like no degree.
Can we see if there's any tracks, like animal tracks or humanoid tracks on the ground?
Yeah, make an investigation check.
Are
Investigation
we all
survival
able to
tracks.
I would say in this case you could do survival because you're in the woods.
And can I check if there are like slash marks on any of the surrounding trees and stuff, or if it's just like specifically these ones?
Yeah. Make an investigation check.
Am I able to roll with Bryn as
survival.
well before she says what her roll is?
Bryn, you can roll with advantage, or the both of you can roll.
I'll get you to roll with advantage because you've already.
I already got a natural 20, so 23.
Well, fuck me, I guess. Yeah. So looking for tracks, yeah, it's kind of tough underneath the grass, but you can see that there are footprints from pretty heavy boots, and not just a pair or three, but around 8 or 9 different pairs of pretty heavy boots have sort of crisscrossed this area before the tracks sort of turn off and head towards what would be the direction of the center of the deep wood.
Are they going in the direction of where we're going by the looks of it? Can she tell if they're like medium-sized, like creature, like larger than like an average person, small?
So the boot size appear to be regular human medium size.
So there's probably like 9 individuals, 8 or 9, and they're just, came through, did this, and they're going towards like the center-ish. I mean, they might change their course, but that's where they're kind of going from here.
Aery, did you say you saw this happen in an instant?
Yeah, it pretty much was instantaneous, wasn't it, Dom? They just
it was over the span of like 5 to 10 seconds. They just started moving and then they just went down.
Yeah, it was like super fast.
That is highly concerning.
Are there any so there's like the damage, but have limbs like actually been taken or anything? Does there seem to be any purpose, or it's like literally just, I don't know, they just really needed to get some rage out or something and just went ham on these trees for no reason?
So as far as you can tell, the tops of the trees are relatively uncrushed or untouched, aside from the limbs that were crushed when it kind of fell. It doesn't appear to have been taken for like firewood. They didn't take one tree. They didn't drag anything off. It just appears as if this cluster of trees it was their time.
How tall are the trees as well?
This deep into the wood, they're probably around 50 or so feet tall.
And
so they're rising up pretty tall.
How high up does the damage extend? Because you said the tops are okay, but then how far up the trunks is their damage?
Not too much. Probably only around 9 to 10 feet up the trunk. So 1.5 people.
So like they would have had to have been like kind of reaching up. It wasn't just like as they're going, they're just like hacking through. It does extend kind of somewhat purposefully up the trunk a little bit at least.
Somewhat. From where you can place where the tree was initially slashed by whatever these things were, or axed or hatcheted, it probably wasn't too high, around 4 or 5 feet off of the ground. However, just the sheer volume of damage done to these trees extends just in a larger area, like an area of effect of attack almost.
Man, these guys really hated trees for whatever reason.
Yeah, but why just like specifically these ones?
So, Aery,
If I
you were
try
going to
to-
check nearby trees?
I only got a 9, so
9? I mean, even with a 9, you do see that along the path that they went, here and there, you can see just random single deep gouges into trees. Clearly not with the intent to cut, but just gouges and slashes.
Are they just laying breadcrumbs for themselves to be able to get back out?
I mean, maybe it seems like a very destructive way to do it. Maybe they
wouldn't
just
think they
can't
need to.
control their arms and they just holding axes and swinging them about, accidentally cutting down trees.
Maybe they're just
They're
like
testing
this
out
like-
skill.
the vegetarian equivalent when there's like blood in the water. There's like the smell of sap in the air, and these guys just went mental, like cutting trees up into like a feeding frenzy.
Do vegetarians eat trees?
I don't know. I don't know what these guys are. They're just like people sized, though.
If I kind of
Could it
give
be?
Arden a
If a
little
tree's
squeeze and try to
sentient,
spur
does
him
that
on,
I've
make it
never
worse?
known.
That is a
Vegetarian.
really deep question. Though. I don't really want to go into like this sentient tree kind of like into like moral consciousness of choices of being vegetarian or vegan.
Yeah, let's not. But
But interesting question nonetheless.
You'd have to basically eat nothing.
Surely if the tree is like literally sentient, like an ant, though, you wouldn't. you wouldn't eat it.
Yeah.
We're
but
like,
you're also not eating bark,
"Mm,
so like, you know.
Sucks to be a plant, fam. God's hands, and just
is there a way, can I try to tell whether Arden seems bothered by what's going on here? Like, if I sort of try to spur him to walk in towards, the center of the destruction, do I get any sense of unease from him? I assume that if he was, because he can sense like magic and auras and stuff, he's a bit magical that way.
I mean, Arden is an intelligent steed. He doesn't seem. I mean, obviously he's weirded out by it. Just like walking along the woods and then just seeing like this carnage and devastation just there is obviously going to catch you by surprise. But as you spur him into the middle, he very quickly is able to collect himself and take you to where you direct him.
So what do we want to do now? Do we want to follow these like weird like axe people, or are we just going to go straight for the hut?
Does it follow the ravines, like where they're going? Because we were going to be following ravines and stuff.
It does not. It seems to be making a direct path towards the center.
I mean, if we're wanting to do what we originally intended of following the ravines, the path that they're going is not what we were going to do. But if we feel more comfortable following another party, because maybe like they'll be the ones that get attacked by Fae things first, and we can like avoid danger, we could do that. But we don't know if these guys are super dangerous. I mean, what they did to the trees, what if they want to do that to people as well? Discuss.
I don't want anyone to do this to me.
Well, if nothing else, they've forged a path for us.
Yeah, but what if we follow the path and then they like forge us?
Yeah, it's true.
Maybe
Well,
also,
setting up camp here.
maybe someone else is cottoned on to. Oh my god, there's so much noise. Someone else is cottoned on to, what's going on? Maybe it's they're on the same path and they're heading straight for the center. Maybe we just hang back a little and see if anything yells loudly and screams.
Yes, it does feel like we're going to catch up to them sooner or later. Their intent from that direction seems to be the heart of the forest, so it's if we are going to catch up with them imminently or in the morning.
Let's strategically let them go ahead and maybe keep an
Yeah.
extra eye out at night when we camp.
Yeah, because if they're good guys, we can like heal them and stuff if they get into combat before we get there.
Yeah,
And then if there's bad guys, then there's less for us to have to kill.
true.
I do like that thinking. Okay, that's
I'm
but if I get chopped to pieces, I will come and I'll haunt all of you.
Oh, please do. That would be really fun.
No, I'll haunt you, but mean.
No, you wouldn't.
I'll try.
Will-
Maybe sometimes I'll be mean.
We'll keep an extra eye out on the way. If they decide to turn around and be like, "Who's following us?" We'll be like, "Haha, we're watching you."
Yeah, we can keep watching pairs.
Distance.
From a safe distance.
Okay, should we like just go via the ravines and travel until nightfall and then maybe make camp?
yes, I suppose we should forge on. I'm not keen on making camp anywhere near this place.
So yeah, I guess
So
just...
the six of you are following the ravines as you continue along?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you do deviate away from the apparently whatever path these things have decided to leave behind for you, and start heading back on down towards the ravines. And that's where we're going to go ahead and take a quick break because we have been on air for a long time without a break. So get a chance to get up, stretch your legs, do all of those regular human things, use the bathroom, get some water, be a person, darn it.
Fight a bear.
How dare you
Yeah.
demand this of me?
Take care of your body.
Can't.
All right, it's the 37 where I'm at, which means it's the 07 in other time zones. I'm not even going to try to suggest a time because we are absolutely going to miss it. So don't go.
Whatever.
Well, actually do go anywhere. Go do beat people and then come back and then watch more D&D.
Yeah.
We'll be
Bye.
here. See ya.
Ba-blam, ba-blam.
Blam, blam, everybody. Roll for initiative. No. Welcome back. Yes.
I hear a dice roll.
Uh-oh.
Or a chip. That sounded like a dice roll or a chip. Anyways, where last we left our adventurers, they were traversing through apparently what seems to remain of the Deepwood. A large portion of the forest has decided to evacuate the forest and instead collapse upon Valetaire as its new home. So the party is heading forward. They found a logging camp of some sort, just an absolute mess of wood and lumber deep within the ravine, one of the ravines of the Deepwood, that seemed to head straight towards the center of the Deepwood itself. However, the party decided to split off and follow some of the ridges to the sides of the center, which would be a little bit safer and allow them a bit of a slower pace. So, as we left off, the six of you started leaving this, for lack of a better term, disaster area, and making your way along a nearby ravine, heading deeper and deeper down towards the central basin where the trees change color. Whoever is in charge and is leading, can I get a nature check or a survival check?
Unless anyone
rolls.
stops her, you know who thinks she's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bryn would probably also make a survival check.
Sure.
Eridan too, now he's started actually paying attention to where we're going.
Oh my god! I hope you all roll really, really badly and get us very fucking lost.
Look,
Oriana?
We're getting
Or sorry,
doing
Eminence?
it together. 13.
13?
18.
Still not right.
18?
15.
15. This time, as you're going, once again, Eminence, at this point, you've almost learned to trust Arden's intuition. It seems like he just has a slightly better sense for the path, and you're still guiding him. You're still leading him. You're still in charge. But every now and again, when he splits off from your direction, it seems to just be a little bit of a time saver here and there. So you're generally getting to the point where you can trust his intuition. Bryn, largely that's because of you. You're seeing where Emmy is pointing Arden, and you're just very subtly just being like, little left. And an hour passes without you actually feeling a tap on your shoulder from Eridan, and as you glance back and look at him, you can see that he seems to be following your lead this time, that you seem to have control of the situation. And as you start to descend deeper and deeper into these ravines, you start getting once again into the more densely populated areas of the wood. This is almost reminiscent of the street outside of the Golden Tankard, in which you can barely see maybe 50 or 80 feet in a given direction, and you really have to look for deep glimpses throughout the course of these trees. It's probably about 45 minutes into this journey that Aery, you spot once again in the distance, one of the trees seems to turn and look at the party and then step deliberately out of sight.
Nah, I saw another tree. I saw another tree looking at us.
Where did you see it?
It was over there, and I point in whatever direction it was in.
Sure. So you guys are probably heading a little bit southwest, following the natural curvature of the ravine as it spirals in towards the center of the basin. This was probably up the hill a ways, maybe about 50 or so feet up a hill off of the base of this ravine.
Are we wanting to follow it, or are we wanting...
Well, it kind of... I mean, it looked at us, and then it hid. So I don't know if it would want to talk to us, but I think it might be in the range of my message spell.
Well, it's definitely worth a try, at least.
Yeah, so it's 120 feet is the range.
Yeah.
So
Towards a creature within range and whisper a message.
I would like to do that.
Okay, you cast message. What do you say?
Hello, are you a nice tree? We're trying to find out what's going wrong with the forest. It's kind of like all whack. Could we talk to you about it? Will you help us? We won't hurt you.
Let me check something real quick.
The tree looks disturbed.
Yeah. Make a persuasion check. That look of excitement. Ooh.
Aery is very persuasive.
Six. I rolled a 6, but I have +7, and I'm bad at
13.
math. 13!
13. Yeah, 6 plus 7 is 13.
Math check succeeded.
That doesn't happen often.
There is...
I'm good at persuasion, but then every time I roll bad.
There is silence. You can hear the chirping of birds and small wildlife and insects in the forest nearby you, but no voice answers back.
Can I send it again and be like, oh, you can reply to me. You just have to I think back in my direction. So if you would like to actually reply, you can do that.
There is no response.
Aery, do you know that what language it would be speaking though? Can it understand you?
Hopefully it didn't understand it. Isn't just really rude.
It probably didn't understand you then. I'm sure it's not ignoring you.
What if it is ignoring me?
Ultimately, does it matter?
Yes?
Yes, I can see how probably that would come across as quite rude. But it's loss at your wonderful company.
You're right. But I don't think we should go chasing after it. If it didn't want to be seen and it doesn't want to talk to me anyway, then maybe it's not worth the time to try.
It's not trying to attack us, which is better than the other treant.
It's true.
We should just keep an eye out for when we do settle down for camp.
Maybe we'll find a friendlier one later.
So you guys are moving on?
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's get a roll from the people in the lead. That's a face. That's a face.
I just can't. I mean, it's not bad. It's just with a +5. I can't.
21 from Bryn.
21?
13.
No,
And 19 from me.
19. Eridan, at this point, you realize that you can step up your game. You can do this. You can absolutely... Wait, why is she going this way? This way is not faster. This way is... Oh, this way is faster. Dang it! I can't believe this way is faster. And it becomes this personal, internal, almost competition where it almost seems like Bryn just has been here before. She's spotting these small animal paths and tracks going in different directions that lead you deeper and deeper down towards the center of the ravine. However, after this next hour, the sun is starting to get lower and lower into the sky. It's getting closer and closer towards nighttime. You get the sense that you could probably travel for another hour or so before you would need to incorporate light to be able to see in the dark. However, if you wanted to set up camp while it was still light and not use any magical or fire forms of darkness, this would also be a good time to set up camp. What do you folks think?
I think it would be smart to keep a low profile here, so I think we should probably set up camp before sunset and try to avoid anything that generates too much light or noise.
And
I agree.
would we have to be worrying about like how much time we've traveled today as well? Like we'd be getting pretty close to like getting pretty tired.
It's been almost 8 hours or so of travel through thick, dense woods. So it's not you're not as fresh as you were this morning, wondering what's going on outside.
Yeah, fair. I think good time to rest.
Yes, they say early to bed, early to rise. So if we have an early one, we can get up as soon as the sun is up and make our way. And then whatever we're looking for in the center, hopefully it'll be daylight when we get there.
Okay, so you guys
I guess
break down and
spot. Yeah.
Yeah, you're able to find a spot relatively easily. There's almost like a natural brook where a small little, just a trickle of water kind of winds down and curves around, creating a small pond. And you can see that there's just very soft, lush grass surrounding this tiny nook and the nice big oak that overhangs over the top of it. Just this quiet little corner in the center of the deep wood. And you actually get the sense that there are probably like quiet, safe, comfortable corners like this pretty much everywhere if you know how to find them, if you know where to look for them, just by the density of the deep wood itself. And there is something slightly comforting about this space. It just seems almost homey. Yeah. Soon enough, though, the sun begins to dip lower and lower into the sky. Do you guys set up a fire or just
While
it's
people are
dark,
setting up
eat rations?
camp, I'd like to walk over to the oak tree and just kind of like knock on it, kind of look around it, look up in the, just check that shit out. I'm
Yeah,
sus
totally.
on trees now.
Sus on trees, love it. The tree looks at you. No. There, as you kind of knock against it, it appears to be completely solid. You can see, like, I believe they're called whorls, WHORLS, and knurls, within this tree, just like tiny little, just sort of like tiny little nooks and crannies for squirrels and small birds and everything else. The tree appears to be very old, from what you can tell, but still remarkably sturdy. Gotta close Twitch chat. Heck, you guys. You can make a nature check or survival check.
You know what I'm going to make. Let's see if this works. Two dice for the bin. It says an 11 on a nature check.
11? It just appears to be a regular tree. There is a bird nest higher up in the limbs, but that's all that you can make out.
Aw, can I see any birdies in the nest?
At this time, no, you cannot. I mean, you're
I head
underneath
back
it,
to the others.
so.
You look so heartbroken about that.
I wanted birdies. There's very little life in this forest. I don't like it.
So we were wanting to light a campfire, or
We didn't bring firewood with us, and I do not think we should be burning anything we find in the magic fiery forest. Like, even if it fell down, I think it's safer not to.
And also, there are crazy people with axes out here. Maybe we don't want to draw attention to us.
that's
I think
true. I
it's-
mean, I certainly don't feel the cold, so it doesn't really bother me either way.
Least as
I do feel
inconspicuous
the cold. I
as
still
possible.
outside.
Fair.
Sorry, Natalie, what was that?
As least inconspicuous as possible.
So I'm
Conspicuously.
that tree that we are suspicious of. I am going
I
to.
like the rules.
I want to cast a glyph of warding on the ground underneath it. And the spell I'm going to attach to it is my level 2 pyrotechnic spell. So if that, and the condition I want to put on it is if that tree moves during the night, then the loud pyrotechnics go off and wake us all up.
And damage the tree and get us attacked by an entire
No.
forest.
Pyrotechnics isn't actually fire, it's just sparkles. It doesn't actually do any damage.
Oh, thank fuck.
I was wondering if we were going to wake up to like just charred birds.
That's why I didn't use fireball.
Squirrels.
We're going to take watches as well, right?
Absolutely.
You know, buddy system.
So specifically, when something so I just want to make sure the text of the glyph is correct. When something approaches the glyph, gets within a certain distance of it, it'll pop off.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Most common triggers include opening an object, approaching within a certain distance of the object, seeing or reading. Once it's triggered. Gotcha. Okay. Spell glyph. Okay. Great.
Cool. Also, we're setting watches, right? Who's taking first watch?
You look like you desperately want to say something dumb. What's up?
No, as the dungeon master, I have like so many wheels spinning, so many plates in my head right now. So I've got like so many things going on, and then we get a moment where it's like, all right, we're gonna sit down and break camp, and then you guys are literally just sitting there silent for 12 seconds, and I'm like,
Oh, right. No, because
Emmy, shall we take first watch?
Well, yes, that's fine with me, I suppose.
I just thought that maybe you would like if we do first watch, it means you get a longer uninterrupted sleep.
That is true. I guess I'll tuck into my rations. Since I'm going to be awake for a while, I'll just chill.
Yeah, who are we going to wake up? Who wants to take the next watch?
I'll take the next one.
So that's,
I probably won't sleep well anyway.
So Erden and Oriana? Lovely.
Before we go to sleep, Aery would like to check in with Eridan as well and just see how he's doing. I guess after he sets his fireworks trap.
Peyton, obviously.
Which is a completely normal thing to do on a regular basis.
In a forest as well.
yeah.
How are you feeling, Eridan? I noticed earlier that you kind of like seemed like a bit like strung out, but I mean you held it together all day. But are you okay?
Well, I'm just on edge. I mean, I've told you what's hunting me. It's if it's gonna catch up with me anywhere, it feels like this would be a really good place for it to find me, since we're drenched in fey magic.
Isn't this like a different realm of the Fae? He is like a prince of like snow and ice. I don't know if maybe you're safe here. This is someone else's domain. Maybe he can't come here at all.
I mean, I really have no idea whatsoever how any of this works. I just know that this is an entry into the Feywild or something like it, and maybe it would make me more vulnerable. I mean, it's not logical. I'm just on edge. I'll be fine. I'll just be a bit twitchy for a few days.
Well, that's okay. I mean, it's not stupid, but yeah, just like remember where or here, and we can protect you. It'll be fine.
Thank you.
And then I will go to sleep.
guess once everyone's asleep, I'll try to awkwardly start up a conversation with Bryn. Just be like, "So, Arden is very well behaved."
Yes, isn't he wonderful? He is the best steed I could ever ask for.
He's lovely. You have a psychic connection, don't you? You can ask him things.
Yes.
Does he like his horn jewelry?
Let me check. And Bryn would add, Arden, do you like the little embellishments that Emmy put in your horns?
Do you want me to?
No, I want you to formulate your own opinion. You're your own individual. So if you don't like them, we can remove them. If you do like them, you can keep them on.
They make noise every time I turn my head. But they look good.
So they're very pretty and aesthetically, he really likes them. They are rather close to his ears, and so the little like jingly jangly that they do, it is like would take a bit of getting used to, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just like he's not used to the like jangly.
Oh, well. I mean, we can take them off him if he doesn't like the jangly, but I mean, not everyone can for the aesthetics.
Oh, we know that fashion is pain, but Arden is very practical.
I suppose he is an elk.
So it's your first time riding an elk?
Yes, but I mean, it was quite similar to riding a horse. The fundamentals are pretty much the same.
Yes, and again, Arden is very good. The elk are like a little bit more like sure-footed though, so compared to a horse, they're like better. But yes, it's very similar in some ways, I guess.
Well, I've only ridden horses that were trained for dressage by the court, so I wouldn't really know.
Oh, is that like the fancy riding that you make them do like the high knees and they go like diagonal and stuff sometimes?
Yes.
Does that like serve any purpose?
Well, it looks wonderful.
It does look very good.
Yes.
But like, does that mean that when you're like riding them and they need to get out of danger, they can like zigzag and stuff, or like, is it for anything that they're like made to do that?
I suppose it's mostly to show that you teach a horse to do something practical that the horse benefits from. That's well and good, but the horse kind of wants to do it. If you teach a horse something completely impractical, that's just because you're good at teaching.
I guess that makes sense in a way. I don't think that Arden would like it though.
No, I think he's quite proud, isn't he?
I don't think he'd like to do like the weird head thing that they do where they like have to have their head up really high but then point their head down really low at the same time.
Oh, but I love the weird head thing. It's so cute.
I wonder if it like hurts their neck though.
Maybe.
Bryn's is kind of just like awkwardly just like
Awkward silence descends. They're both just like,
Like, do I bring up when we were plummeting towards our death and then Emmy didn't say like anything after, or nah? I think she's gonna go with nah for now. Do we have to do perception checks?
Yeah, if you guys are keeping watch, do you want to keep watch?
Yeah.
Dom's like, if they don't say that they're paying attention.
I'm fine either way. Let's get perception for both of you.
Natty 20.
Nice.
Oh, that's definitely better. Bring up 15 perception. Oh, it's still good. 18.
18? And 20 plus.
All that awkward not making eye contact with each other is
Looking elsewhere.
Looking at everything except each other.
I think that's actually a 22. Yeah, sorry, it's 22.
So it's at about this point that, though it is dark, looking up, you can see a couple of stars shining through up above. And at some point in the awkward silence, you do see a small dark shape flitter through the dark above you and land where that bird nest was. And there's a little bit of silence before you, ever so quietly, so far above you, just hear the smallest of chirp, chirp, chirp of tiny little hatchlings being woken up.
I'll kind of forget myself a bit and grab Bryn. Like, if we're sitting next to each other, I'll put my hand on her thigh and just be like, "Do you hear that? Do you hear that?"
Oh, now that you mention it, yes. What is it? Was it a tree that you were looking at?
So a nest before in the tree. I think it's a baby bird.
Little babies. I'd much rather that than a sentient tree that wants to rip us into little pieces.
Did Eridan tell us what his thing on the ground does? Now I'm worried about the birds.
He did a thing? Oh, I did it.
He drew a thing on the ground.
I thought it was...
He doesn't really like to tell us when he's doing things. He just kind of does them.
Oh, I thought he was just like bored or something and he was just like doodling in the dirt.
Oh, he might have been, come to think of it.
So
I'm sure that if it was important and was like going to like do anything, he would have told us.
So at the very least, you'd know that it's magic because it does glow when I'm writing it down.
Okay, cool.
If it was going to do something, I'm sure he would have told us. He wouldn't just like, it's not going to like explode or something all of a sudden.
Well, how many times have you seen that man run up a wall without telling us?
But again, if it's like magic and it's going to like do something that would catch us off guard and really put us at a disadvantage if we don't know that it's coming, he would have told us.
I mean, I suppose I trust him. And while I say that, I'm playing with the bracelet that's on my wrist.
What's the worst that could happen? It explodes into like fireworks or something?
It's not that stupid. Come on now.
No, why would you do something so obnoxiously like loud that would like draw attention of everything in the area?
Precisely. Why would you draw the attention of the entire forest?
Yeah, like
I mean, if nothing else, he's sneaky.
Yeah, I mean,
kind of his fun.
You like him, so he must be pretty good, though. So it's fine. I'm sure whatever it is, like, I mean, he could just like drawing and like making his drawings glow for all I know. But if it's going to do something, I'm sure it has our interests at heart.
Sure. Sure. As I'm looking at the bird's nest.
Bryn's gonna just like draw in the dirt and see if her drawing starts glowing. Just to like be safe.
Make an Arcana check.
So that will, she rolled a 5 and it's -1, so it's 4.
It does not start glowing.
Oh, that's disappointing. And she would have doodled like a little Arden with like Emmy on top, just like T-posing. Maybe he did do something. Mine didn't start glowing.
I can learn to
I guess we'll find out.
It's probably getting close to the end of your shift of the watch at this point.
So should we wake the others up?
Yeah, well, good chat. Let's wake up Erden and Oriana.
Good chat. See ya.
Yeah, good chat. Peace.
It was fun. Let's do it again. Yeah.
Never do this again.
I guess knowing Emmy like a little bit better, Bryn will go wake Oriana up. And then Emmy to wake Erden. Yeah.
I'll go wake yeah.
It's
like
time. All right, cool. Thanks, Emmy. Go sleep.
Yeah. Good night.
Night.
Oriana. Oriana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's your watch.
Excellent.
And like Eridan did something and like didn't tell us what it was. Like maybe check because like my drawing didn't start glowing, so it might be magic.
He did what?
I don't know. It's like under the tree. I'll catch fire. I'm gonna go to bed.
Okay, good night. So, Oriana will like sit down on a, I don't know, probably she doesn't want to sit on a tree stump if there are tree stumps because, magic tree forest. Probably just the ground, honestly.
There might be a large rock. Let's say there's a large rock that's comfortable for us to sit on.
There is no such thing as a comfortable rock. But I get you. And she's gonna turn to Eridan and be like, apparently you were drawing in the dirt.
Yeah. I put down wards to warn us if that tree moves and comes for us in our sleep, it will make a bit of a bang and a sparkle and wake and warn us that it's moved. That's all.
But you didn't tell First Watch that.
Didn't I? I thought I did.
No, I was just told Eridan was scribbling in the dirt and we think maybe he did something.
Oops. Well, I'm sorry for that. I'll apologize to them in the morning, but at least it still would have done the same thing. Gotten their attention.
I mean, you said it's going to make a loud noise and sparkle. That could easily be perceived as an attack. I'm not certain. I think in the morning, perhaps everybody deserves an apology. And a little more communication, perhaps, in future.
I'll try.
And that's basically going to be the end of conversation for the night. We're just going to look into the forest now.
Y'all get perception checks then.
Do you, Oriana? Yeah.
18.
18.
I rolled a 16.
16. Yeah, the two of you sit quietly for the duration of your watch. You notice the stars up above are shining nice and brightly as you can see them through the clouds. Every now and again, you get a glimpse of the moon as it's slowly rising higher and higher overhead into the sky. It is illuminating as much as it can, considering the fact that you are deep in the woods, so there is not a lot of natural light to go on, and it does take a pretty good amount of time for your eyes to really adjust to the dark, and even then your eyes seem to continuously play tricks on you, as if there are shadows at the edge of this clearing that seem to dart in and out of movement. But as you turn your gaze to focus on them more clearly, it's just a brush, just a small sapling, just a small twig here and there.
Nothing. So none of it, even the trees aren't moving again?
Even the trees aren't moving. Every now and again, there's like a very gentle breeze, but even that seems muted this deep into the woods. There's, much like entering the woods initially, there is that feeling of almost being underwater, as if the air is like slightly heavier. As if there is something more than what is physically present. Just overlapped on everything, but your watch passes without incident.
All right, so we I wander over to Natalie and give her a gentle shake to wake up. It's time for your watch. If that suspicious tree moves, there'll be a bit of a bang and a sparkle to warn us that it's not what it appears to be.
So if a tree moves,
We'll get a little display of lights just to warn us.
more than okay. At least it saves me having to yell, you know?
Yeah, and in case one of us misses it, it's very suspicious and I don't trust it at all. Not that I trust anything in this forest, but it seems suspicious.
Honestly, considering
Good
our
night.
track record, I don't blame you that you don't trust anything in the forest.
Anyway, sorry I didn't say earlier. It just slipped my mind. I was distracted. Good night.
Nah, it's fine. It's magic stuff. I don't really understand it anyway.
My dog is just screaming in the background. I'm so sorry. Oriana is going to wake up Aery, and I'm going to go.
Oh my god.
Because she's very upset.
She's so hungry.
It's like your dog is mocking you.
Oh.
Clearly not.
Hello. Okay, I'm going. I'll be back.
Okay.
Amazing.
So let's get perception checks from Aery and Natalie.
Alright. I almost thought I didn't grab a d20 then. Oh my god. What is that number? That's a 3. That's not great.
I love the play-by-play that we're getting here.
This is getting dark in here. So I couldn't say. Oh, well, that's good at least. So mine's a. I think that makes it a 4. Yeah, that's a 4.
Yeah,
Love
yeah.
a 4.
Damn.
While we're sitting on the rock, I guess, Aery will be like, Natalie, would you like to hold my hand?
Sure.
It's nice, don't you think?
Well, yeah, your hand is so soft.
Thank you. Your hand is so strong.
It's
do
a
you
little
like-
bit hurt. What?
It's what?
Well, like it's, I carry axes all day and stuff.
Yeah, so you're so strong.
I guess that works.
I can try to read your palm if you want. I was never very good at it, but I did have a friend who tried to teach me. You can see what it says.
How does that work? Your palm can say things?
Well, no, but the shape of your palm, the lines of it, they're sort of like shaped by your life and your experiences, and sometimes they can sort of say where you have been and where you're going.
Right. Okay. Is it
Okay.
like destiny or
It could be garbage, who knows, but it's kind of fun, don't you think?
one way to find out, I guess? Sure.
Okay, give me
Tell me what my palm tells you.
Okay. I will look at it, and I'm just gonna make this up, so...
Love it.
I tell you what, why don't you make, what do you reckon, Arcana or Religion?
I think either would work, wouldn't it?
Or even
guess.
nature? I mean, I guess it depends what direction you take with it.
Yeah, you tell me. Are you trying to do it off of like magical origin? Are you just totally bluffing?
I think maybe Arcana.
Okay, Arcana.
They're the same on my phone, so...
Sure.
So excited.
The look of surprise.
20!
Whoa!
Wow, okay.
Natural 20, 30, 20.
Yeah.
So as you are looking at Natalie's palm, do you have let me double check something real quick. as you are looking at Natalie's palm, a gap in the trees above, almost as you kind of like flip the palm up, it's just like a fortuitous moment. The moon shifts just a little bit higher in the sky, and this beautiful beam just pierces down a nice little uneven circle on the palm up to about halfway up your wrist, sort of illuminating the stone directly in between the two of you, and your palm in the middle, giving you a very, very clear reading of Natalie's palm. And what does that reading say, Aery? You're fairly confident in this reading. It's bright, it's clear, it's just you two. There's no distractions.
I'm just gonna look at my palm quickly and try to remember what the lines mean. Okay, so he'll point to like the one that sort of like runs across like the top of the palm, and say, "Oh God, which one is that?" I can Google it for you. I think that's a love line. I don't know. He's just gonna make it up. Say what it thinks, which is also it's just gonna be what I think. And
Yeah,
like, it has very strong. It's a little bit. Yeah. So the heart line. At the beginning, it's so strong, which means that you're very loved. There's a little bit of a fray near the beginning. I don't know what that means. It could be like maybe something with your family, but it's obvious that they really loved you. And then it's very strong through your whole life, which means that you'll always be loved by people. Isn't that nice?
Natalie at this point is like a little bit like seeing Aery through new eyes, like with the moon thing, and like suddenly like Aery's saying these things, and she's just like, oh, like, you know, thinking that Aery is like all powerful and like whatnot. New appreciation is what I should say. I guess.
Well, the next line is, it runs almost parallel to the palm, and this is your headline. So it is sort of like how you think. Yours is very straight, and it reaches all the way to your palm, which means that you are smart, but it's not strong in the sense that maybe you're very educated. So obviously you have good intuition, but maybe you're not, like a scholar, which is fine because a lot of books are pretty boring. So you're not really missing out on anything. I've had to read a lot of books, and most of them are like, so boring.
Well, I can't read common books, so it works.
Yeah. Well, this one is kind of hard to say. I don't really like to tell people always what it says. This is the lifeline. And it can be really scary for people because, like, if they see, like, convergence or it ends really fast, like, people can think, like, oh, it means I'm going to die. Which it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll die or you'll have bad health. But yours is kind of, like, it is very strong, so you probably will live a, healthy life. But there's a lot of fraying in it, which I think probably means you get into a lot of fights, which maybe I think that kind of checks out. Right.
But look, I have a way of getting into the middle of things.
Yeah, so you'll probably get hurt a lot, but it doesn't look like anything is too bad. There's some, near the end, it kind of diverges a little bit, so you may have, like, some smaller issues with health. Maybe it might not mean anything at all. So, it's totally fine.
It's okay, Aery. I am aware that eventually one day I'll die.
Yeah, well, I guess we all gotta do it sometime.
Yeah.
But the most interesting one for you is your fate line. It runs all the way through the middle of your palm, and it's so strong. This might be one of the strongest fate lines I've ever seen. That means you're gonna be like some sort of hero or something, maybe. I mean, I think that you already are a hero, but for sure.
You're just saying that because you're very lovely.
Look at it. You can see for yourself. It runs all the way through the middle, and it's so deep.
Sure. You can read all this from a hand? Like a palm?
Well, I mean, yeah, but, it's not like there's no, like, magic really or science behind it. It's just, like, what people think. So, I mean, it's what I can see from it, but it doesn't, always mean like, oh, this is like exactly what your life was like and what's going to happen and stuff. It's just, but like our experiences shape us, so that it makes an impact on who we are.
It's interesting. I don't know if you knew this, but I always wanted to be a hero. Like,
Well, that's pretty cool because you are a hero. Look, we're saving a whole forest.
Are we really saving a forest if we're kind of attacking it? Trying to get rid of it? Yeah, trying to stop it from doing its thing. Maybe the forest doesn't appreciate that.
Well, aren't we just trying to figure out why it's acting so crazy? We don't have to stop it if it's not doing anything wrong.
True. Just feels weird. You face, people. You see bad people and it's like, oh, they're bad people. They need to be stopped. But
These can't be bad too?
Well, it's more that we don't know if they're bad, do we? We don't know if they're scared. Maybe that's why they took over the city. Or, maybe they're running.
Maybe they would talk back to me, we could find out, but they don't want to.
Right? How rude.
How rude. But, I think that even heroes, like, in some of the books I read that were not bad, even the heroes were, all they would want to do is good things. Sometimes they would still, like, do things that, like, weren't that good along the way. Not on purpose, but, like, we can't always be doing, like, the most righteous thing. And I think what we're doing now is good.
I think what we're doing now is good as well. Just wish I knew what I was going against. Trees. That don't talk back and they're very rude.
They're so rude.
They can't be that nice, can they?
Maybe not.
Thank you, Aery.
It's okay.
And she'll just like kind of sit there for a bit and just let Aery like hold her hand for a second. But yeah, she's like kind of like eyeing the grap in the trees a little bit, like, what the fuck? Like
Yeah, as the two of you are sort of finishing this conversation, it kind of wraps up. The moon has drifted a little bit further overhead, and it almost seems like just a natural close to the conversation. And you can watch as this small circle of moonlight slowly closes before fading completely into the dark. And that's when the fireworks go off. There is a sudden explosion of light and thunderous sound that suddenly erupts directly behind you, about 20 feet back. As quickly turning to look, you can see this massive, just radiant explosion of white and colored lights just scintillating up into the sky, illuminating the under canopy of this enormous oak tree. You can see that some of the birds in the tree have suddenly quickly woken up and are starting to scatter and fly away. And as the lights kind of begin to sparkle and dim a little bit from the initial effect of the fireworks going off, you see what looks to be a cat, probably about 8 or 9 feet long, something kind of roll back over onto its front haunch, massive jaw kind of slavering as it puts one paw down and then another and turns back over to look towards the two of you. As the light is slowly fading, you get this image of this one cat, the red eyes suddenly glowing in the remnants of that light, looking at the rest of the party. And then 2 more side legs step out, revealing a total of 6 legs. And 2 large tentacles on the back of the neck suddenly arc up, pointed spikes aimed at the rest of the party. And you hear growling. And that's where we'll pick up next week.
Well, fuck then. Fucking knew it was just
very cool.
Low
fucking
key,
knew it.
Just like looking at it like, you were delicious.
Yeah.
Just like, rubs hands together like a fly.
Yummy.
Time to get in there. Well, thank you so much for jumping in, everybody. We're going to go ahead and say our goodbyes. Why don't we go ahead and do some quick rounds and everybody can talk about themselves and what they're working on before we send everyone off for the evening. Continue with the same order as usual. Bryn, you're up.
Goodbye, everyone. My name is Alishiera. I am a content creator for Legacy Esports. You can find me with the handle Alishiera on anything that I have. And being Halloween month, we're doing lots of cool Halloween stuff for stream. This Wednesday we have a subathon where we have lots of cool horror-y, Halloween-y themed stuff that will be happening. So that's going to be fun.
Awesome. We'll definitely check it out. Eminence.
Thanks for watching, guys. Bye. I've been Nicole, and I don't really do other things on the internet, so my goodbye is always pretty short. But tune in next time to see if Eminence ever improves as a person.
Every week.
Character growth. We're getting there. Alrighty, Oriana.
Hi, I am Mel. I played Oriana. I stream and do cosplay, and I'm an idiot. But you can find me basically everywhere under Maleficent with various underscores and dashes. I wish it all made sense. I wish it was cohesive, but it's not. But I play D&D here every second Sunday and Tuesdays. Should come on Tuesday. It's getting stressful. It's getting stressful. Things are getting stressful, guys. It's getting stressful.
It's only 2020.
Will it end?
Yeah. Aery.
The end of December.
Yeah.
No.
Hi, I'm next.
You're next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Kat Ojimi. I played Aery today. And yes, I am an artist and a streamer. Well, I'm not streaming at the moment because my microphone is busted, which is why I'm at Mel's house. But yeah, if you would like to check out I did these character portraits. If you want to see more stuff like that, follow me on Twitter, I guess. Yeah. Bye.
Hey everyone, I'm Sujasala. I played Eridan. That's all I have to say. I don't internet. Have a good night.
Oh, yes.
Awesome. Natalie.
That's me. I'm last. Sorry, I was looking for someone to raid. But I'm Natalie / I am the person BurrowsRed. That was said awfully. I DM Tuesday's game, and I can tell you that next week is going to be stressful. I also do streamy stuff, and I'm also doing a series on bullet journaling for Dungeons & Dragons using... That was very not epic, but Natalie! Natalie is very important to me. So that's what we do. I think that's it. Demi.
Lovely. Awesome.
Bye,
Thank you so
everyone.
much. Yeah, I'm Dom. Also, goodbye,
Yes.
everyone. Yeah.
Tell us about yourself.
I'm so sorry.
Just pushing me out. Yeah, I'm Dom. I've been the Dungeon Master. Thank you so much for tuning in. We run this game bi-weekly. If you're looking for more stuff that I can do, that I do, check me out on the Twitters. I'm writing music. I'm playing D&D. It's a whole shtick. Someday, some of the other projects that are like in production hell will be released, but until that day, we just kind of wait. So yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, everybody. We'll be back in 2 weeks with our next episode. In the meanwhile, Natalie, do we have someone else to raid?
Yeah, we do. I was thinking about who we would go and see, but it actually was really good timing. One of our players they used to play on Tuesday streams is actually gone live now. So Alk is live. So we're going to go say hello to Alk. He's playing a spooky game, but he hasn't started yet. So no scares yet.
Okay. So everyone, you need to scare him in chat. Send him messages that will scare him.
Oh, we could all do ghosts. That could be cute.
Global warming is real. The good stuff.
Here we go. Here's a ghost. It's a ghost.
Yes.
Ooh.
Spooky. Okay. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Don't forget to love each other. 2020 is almost over. We're in the home stretch. So if we could make you smile and laugh, thank you so much for tuning in. In the meanwhile, keep on having a great time, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Say hi to Spooky Ghost for us.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.